action. Hundreds of affected homeowners have already expressed their intent to join the complaint. Well, there's been another indication that the implementation of the defective concrete block grant scheme is imminent. It's understood the regulations are to be signed off this week after many false dawns. The chair of the Mica Action Group, however, says there's still no guarantee or definitive date as to when this will happen. Talks took place last week between Donegal County Council and the Department of Housing, with the council's chief executive, John McLaughlin, saying he believes genuine and valid concerns raised are being heard. Lisa Hohan says the continuous delays is evidence that denying pre-legislative scrutiny on the bill was for nothing.
It just utterly makes a mockery of their statement this time last year when they refused pre-legislative scrutiny on the grounds of urgency, that the scheme is not yet signed off. The pre-legislative scrutiny is a process which would have served to really interrogate the legislation and produce better quality legislation, eliminate its issues now and also on implementation.
Dee Forbes has announced she is resigning as Director General of RTE with immediate effect. She's apologised for her part in the ongoing controversy surrounding the extra payments given to Ryan Tubridy, adding that as Director General she is the person ultimately accountable. Her resignation means she is no longer compelled to appear immediately before the Oireachtas Media and Public Accounts Committees this week. Sinn Féin's media spokesperson Imelda Munster believes she still should become before the committees.
What she said was that she cares deeply about RTE and the people that work for it, and that she's the person ultimately accountable. So on those grounds alone, if you're to take her resignation statement as genuine, you would imagine that she would want to assist in clearing matters up and answer the questions that everybody needs answers to.
While Letterkenny has been found to be clean when compared to European norms, it's dropped down to 21st in Eyeball's ranking of 40 towns and cities in Ireland, down from 6th place last year. According to Antashka, which carried out the summer litter survey, a number of sites in Letterkenny missed the top litter grade, such as the N56 Dunfanaghy Approach Road and Letterkenny Shopping Centre car park. While commending the Bryson Recycling Facility and Letterkenny Town Park, Letterkenny Bus Station was found to be the most heavily littered site. Finally, for weather, a generally cloudy start today with isolated showers, some dry spells later in the afternoon with highest temperatures of 16 to 19 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
See the whole picture with ultra wide on iPhone 11. Join 3 today and get iPhone 11 for just $9.99 with 3 bill pay. Enjoy top-class speeds in Ireland's fastest 5G network. Offer ends soon. Visit in store or at 3.ie. 3 for a better connected life. €40 per month price plan. Subject to 24-month minimum term and annual price increase. Terms and conditions apply. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q3 to Q4 2022.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 till Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. Very welcome along to another week of the 9 till Noon Show. How are you keeping? How was your weekend? How did it go? Let us know. If you want to talk about anything on the show today, get in touch. I'll give you the numbers now in a second. Pass on some information. Maybe you need us to work on something for you. Whatever it might be, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. You can give us a call too on 074 91 25,000. We have Caroline and Niamh taking your calls as usual. And if you want to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. Right, a lot happened over the weekend. It was a busy one, wasn't it? I mean, there was that whole situation in Russia where it seemed like everything was going to change forever, and then it all of a sudden didn't change. But that all's still rumbling on. Lots of people interested in that. We'll have an expert on such matters joining us a little later on in the programme. And I kind of flagged that I thought this RTE story, I thought it was going to be a big one. I never expected it to be quite as big as it actually is, even though I knew it was going to make an awful lot of headlines. It is across all the papers, all the shows, all weekend, and it continues this morning. We'll be talking about that a little later on as well. Your views, as I say, as the morning progresses, are encouraged, nay demanded. Right, let's see what's making the front of the paper. Good news story from the Donegal News this morning. A Scottish-based IT company will open a new base in Gweedore tomorrow as a major recruitment campaign gets underway. Be positive. Employ over 50 people in their Scottish base and is now in the early stages of setting up an office in GTech. A recruitment campaign is in progress for their Donegal office in the heart of the Gaeltacht. The company has said that the number of jobs created will be linked to the success of that campaign. On to the Dairy News this morning. No out of hours dental pain clinic in Western Trust. The Western Trust had the lowest number of dental practices and dentists per 100,000 people in the north in 2023. There was a 10.4% drop in the number of dental practices in the Western Trust per 100,000 people between 2014 and 2023. This was the second biggest drop of all the trusts and was significantly bigger than the North's 8.7% average. Right, on to the Nationals. And as I say, you'd struggle to find anything other than the Ryan Tubridy pay controversy on the front of the pages and inside it, for that matter. Opinion pieces, 7 or 8 pages dedicated to it in most papers. The Irish Independent this morning. The knives are out among furious staff in RTE as they demand answers this week from suspended Director General Dee Forbes and other members of the station's executive. Ms Forbes is among a number of key RTE figures who have been invited before the 2 Oireachtas committees this week as the scandal surrounding hidden RTE payments continues to unfold. And lo and behold, is the norm, and we were talking about this last week as it relates to trying to get into the bottom of scandals in the HSE and other organisations in this state. Dee Forbes has now tendered her resignation, so she is no longer obliged to appear before those 2 Oireachtas committees. Now, I don't know what that means or if there's any consequences for her severance package that she would have got, presumably for standing down, but she has jacked it in. She was due to finish in a couple of weeks anyway, but now that she has, and in fairness, she had a big shot at the board of RTE on her way out, but now that she's resigned this morning, she no longer is compelled to answer questions in front of these Oireachtas committees. But I'll read on here. There is huge anger both within RTE and among the public at large as the fallout continues from the €340,000 in hidden payments to presenter Ryan Tubridy. The issue of corporate governance at RTE will be discussed at the Oireachtas Media Committee on Wednesday, followed by the Public Accounts Committee on Thursday. There is no indication yet whether Ms Forbes will attend the meetings, though, as I say, she's resigned this morning, so doesn't have to. When asked to clarify if she would be there, an RTE spokesperson was not in a position to elaborate. Notification of invitations to both committees have been received. RTE will be attending, the spokesperson said, but as I say, Dee Forbes no longer obliged to do so, or even really might no longer feel compelled to do so. As I say, the coverage continues in the Irish Daily Mail. RTE told agent to the Stars Noel Kelly to send invoices to a UK-registered company in order to siphon the hidden payments to his client Ryan Tubridy. The national broadcaster arranged for the creation of invoices labelled as consultancy services, which were then sent to and settled by the British media firm Astus last year. So this is not simply a case of going to a third-party company and saying, look, will you enter into an arrangement yourselves with Ryan Tubridy, because we've said that we'll cut his pay. He wants to maintain his pay levels. So to keep it off the books, you know, Renault, I think it was Renault Ireland, will you pay him directly €75 and you'll get such and such in return? It was more than that, because invoices were created purposely, it would seem, to hide the money. Mr. Tubridy's name was not included, by the way, on any paperwork or payments in the barter relationship between the two entities. It emerged yesterday that Mr. Kelly sent the invoices to RTE, which forwarded them to Astus. The payments were processed at a total cost of €230,000. Tubridy's €150,000 top-up payment were in lieu of the money Renault was supposed to pay as part of the commercial deal with the presenter in exchange for a number of appearances. However, the car manufacturer pulled out of the deal, which meant RTE had to foot the bill because they underwrit it. And they said, effectively, if Renault don't pay you the money, we will. Now, the invoices that Asda's received were for €75,000 for 2 years. That's 21 and 22. But they did not refer to Mr. Tubridy or his company, Tuttle Productions. It was reported that there was an explicit instruction by RTE to anonymise the transactions and use no names. So purposely, these payments, and this is your money, by the way, this money was purposely hidden. They were told expressly, do not put anybody's name on these invoices. And there you go. All right, the Irish Times this morning. Kyiv and Washington have said Ukraine's counter-offensive against Moscow's invasion force can exploit the turmoil caused in Russia by the Wagner mercenary group's brief revolt and the cracks it exposed in the Kremlin's authority. Wagner fighters seized the major southern Russian city of Rostov on Saturday and then set off to convoy towards Moscow. It was really quite remarkable. So they'd been planning this seemingly for months. They built up along the Ukraine-Russian border. This group of fighters, and this is the level of defences that Russia has, they were able to just go in without a bullet being fired and take over Rostov. Then you had Vladimir Putin, if you weren't aware, going on the TV state media in the morning saying, you know, this is an insurrection or this is a knife in the back. This is these people are going to be arrested. They're breaking the law, calling for sticks, heads on sticks, and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, the Wagner fighters then left Rostov, headed up the N4 and were just outside Moscow. And then lo and behold, something changed. Wagner's leader, he's fleeing the country. Some of the troops are going to be absorbed into the Russian army, but still many people believe that this is far from over. Well, Wagner fighters, as I mentioned, seized the major southern Russian city of Rostov on Saturday and then set off in convoy towards Moscow, smashing through barricades and shooting down several military aircraft as panicked authorities dug trenches across major highways to stop their advance. The mercenaries went back to base after a deal was agreed that neither they nor leader Yevgeny Prigozhin would face charges and he would go into exile in Belarus. But as I say, it doesn't and still doesn't make sense because much of the Russian army seemed to have thought what the Wagner crew were doing was the right thing to do. As I say, it's far from over, that situation, but we'll have an analysis of it for you a little later on in the programme if you want your view. 086 60 25,000. This is a strange one in the Sun today. It's elsewhere as well. An eco group, so that's an environmental friendly, loving group. An eco group is terrifying SUV drivers by using lentils to deflate their tyres. The tyre extinguishers are on the prowl in posh South Dublin in a bid to get gas guzzlers off the streets in urban areas. Warning, don't take it personally. The group carried out a series of coordinated global actions against huge vehicles that pollute our air, destroy our climate and make our cities unsafe. And they claim to have deflated 30 SUVs in Dunleary last weekend using lentils. The small bean is pushed inside the valve, the cap, and then when it's replaced, air. So in other words, you screw the cap, it presses against the valve and deflates the tyres. Air hisses out as the lentil pushes down on the pin. A note was left by the group that read, "We have deflated one or more of your tyres. You'll be angry, but don't take it personally. It's not you, it's your car. We did this because driving around urban areas in your massive vehicle has huge consequences for others." Now, does anyone out there support their actions? 086 60 25,000, WhatsApp or texts. Well, if you get out of the car, you might get onto the bike, but it is a dangerous enough activity according to latest statistics. The Mirror tells us that almost 1,400 people were hospitalised as a result of cycling crashes last year. According to details released under the Freedom of Information Act, 367 of those injured cyclists were under the age of 19. The figures obtained by the Mirror also reveal how 80 were aged over 70. They had inpatient admissions in HSE hospitals. Keen cyclist Kieran Cannon was knocked off his bike by an SUV at Moycullen, County Galway in July 2021 and is interviewed off the back of that. But 14,000 cyclists hospitalised in a single year right across the country, apparently. And finally, maybe it's a case of lucky you, but there's millions of you, or a million of you. The great exodus has begun, with over 1 million people expected to head off on sun holidays in the coming days. Now, again, this is a question based on what we might feel anecdotally, but are there as many tourists around? Do you think more people now, because we're post-COVID, apparently there's a few quid knocking about the place, that more people are going on foreign holidays? I wonder, is that being seen in the tourist hotspots around the northwest, that less people are about because they're choosing to fly elsewhere? Let us know if that's what you're seeing. 086 60 25,000. Well, over 1 million people, as I mentioned, expected to head off on sun holidays in the coming days, and those leaving the country picked a good time to go, as forecasters are predicting a week of unsettled weather with plenty of rain and even isolated thunderstorms. It emerged yesterday. More than 1 million passengers will pass through Dublin Airport over the next 10 days. That being said, many of those aren't going on holidays. You know, they're going to popping over somewhere, or indeed probably leaving the country, having been here already on their own holidays. But look, we'll round it up to 1 million. Dublin Airport reminded passengers due to fly out to be in their terminal 2 hours before a short-haul flight and 3 hours prior to a long-haul departure. But if you are going away on holidays, I'm not in any way bitter. Have a safe travels. Enjoy yourself. Don't overdo it on the first night and ruin the rest of the holiday. Take your time. Enjoy it. Okay. Let us know where you're going. 086 60 25,000. Okay. We'll move on with our next guest on the show, but let's first take our first commercial break.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Ramelton from the 6th to the 10th of July. Save the date and gather your friends for an incredible lineup featuring Sharon Shannon, ABBA Sensations and Jimmy Buckley.
The Paving Store, a creative landscaping works in Letterkenny, have all you'll need to give your driveway, patio or yard the wow factor. With a full range of Tobermoor, paving bricks and flags, walling, curbs and edging. They're also Donegal's leading supplier of millboard decking and cladding. They have the largest range of artificial grass in the northwest and a huge range of outdoor play accessories. See the unique displays and talk to the experienced team at the Paving Store, Lisnen and Letterkenny, on 07492 05039.
At Manor Motors Opel, we're half-full type of people, which is how we come up with the Opel 50/50 finance offer. Choose from the Opel Crossland, Corsa or Mokka. Select your flexible payment option, pair it with 3 years free servicing and meet your new other half. Discover more about Opel's 50/50 offer at the Opel Open Road event. See manormotors.ie for details. Finance is provided by way of a consumer hire purchase agreement by Bank of Ireland Finance. Lending criteria and conditions apply over 18s only. Ownership remains with Bank of Ireland until the final payment is made. Bank of Ireland trading as of Bank of Ireland Finance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Enhance your skills with SafeTech's part-funded training programs. At SafeTech, we provide courses including first aid, roadworks, people moving and handling, confined spaces, electrofusion and machinery training for Ireland and UK sites. Also online programs such as water hygiene, construction supervisors, safety reps and much more. If you have a group for training, SafeTech will go to you. Contact SafeTech today at safetech.ie and take the first step towards upskilling and safety compliance.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
All right, the time's 18 minutes past 9. Good morning, Hugo, listening or watching us in Wexford on Facebook. John, Charlie, Paul and Rosemary, you're very welcome along watching the 9 till noon show. And just a reminder for you that you can watch this programme every day, 9 till 12, on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, across our Facebook channels, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport. Why am I saying that? Highland Radio News and Sport are on Twitter. Right, okay. Conor Hogan of IBAL, that's Irish Business Against Litter, is on the show now. Good morning to you, Conor.
Good morning.
Right, okay. Letterkenny's mixed fortunes for it in the latest survey. It is down the rankings, but is still considered clean.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Letterkenny really hit the heights last year, finished in 6th position in our ranking of 40 towns and cities. This morning it's down to 21st, but I should say it is still clean, and that is the main thing. And I suppose the other good news is that there was only one heavily littered site in the town. That was Letterkenny bus station. Very unusual, actually, to find a bus or train station in such bad condition. Other than that, there were just a number of sites that failed to hit the top litter grade. The Dunfanaghy Approach Road, Letterkenny Shopping Centre Park. On Tashka, inspector says with a little effort, cleanliness could easily be achieved in these areas. Lots of good areas, of course. The recycle facility at Bryson Recycle was a grade A. There was the Kiltoy Approach Road was grade A. Donegal County Museum a grade B plus, so pretty good as well. So the Upper Main Street was a grade B plus. So, nothing really bad, but just a general presence of litter that brought it down the rankings. Yeah,
and I know Letterkenny bus station has been signalled out, but at the front it was grand. Your inspector had to dig around a little bit to find the faults, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there myself, and I don't know, but I presume this must be pretty evident, this litter, for it to be picked up by our inspector. He talks about alcohol cans and sweet papers, fast food wrappers, promotional flyers and glass bottles. And the comment was made, it looked like a thorough cleaning had not taken place in some time. So that's something that's probably relatively easily fixed and not a problem we've had with the bus station in the past. Mm-hmm. That would see Kilkenny go back up the ranking.
Letterkenny, yeah, indeed. And is there a series of visits? Is it one-off visit now? I do note that you did say that the inspector's conclusion was that this is an area that hadn't been cleaned for some time. But generally speaking, is it one visit, Conor? Is it on the day? How do your inspectors?
Well, they're tasked with visiting the town at least twice a year. And they're also advised that if there's anything exceptional taking place, like a fair or some sort of a sports event or something, that it should be avoided. So they're asked to deliver a representative picture of the town, but yes, based on a single visit.
Right. One of the last times we spoke, if not the last time, discarded PPE was an issue right across the country. The focus seems now to be on disposable vapes, that they're being seen by inspectors.
Well, we included them because we hear a lot from Tidy Towns groups and other volunteers who are out picking up the litter. We hear a lot about the presence quite suddenly of these disposable vapes. Now, so we included them. They were in 6% of the many hundreds of sites we surveyed. So, that wouldn't be on a par now with other forms of litter, but we fear it may grow. And of course, there is the point that they're a particularly harmful form of litter because not only are they plastic, but they contain batteries, lithium batteries, which are toxic. So, people need to be concerned about how these items are being disposed of.
Yeah, and coffee cups continue to be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, we've the remnants of PPE. It's certainly disappearing. We don't see the masks anymore. Unsurprisingly, we've seen a fall in the number of alcohol cans and bottles, though they're still present. But they're not nearly as present as coffee cups. So I think that behaviour has just sort of embedded itself of, picking up a coffee and going for a stroll or whatever, or coffee on the go. And unfortunately, too many of these cups are ending up on our streets. And we're talking about a coffee cup levy. I think the Greens are keen to push that, but there seems to be infighting in government that's stopping that actually taking place. Right. But we do need to disincentivise coffee cups, because, I mean, whether they're recyclable or compostable doesn't make a whole lot of difference when they're not being put in the proper receptacle anyway. And that's clearly happening based on the litter we're seeing.
All right, Conor, thanks very much for your time this morning. Conor Horgan of Irish Business Against Litter there. So mixed report for Letterkenny, which is the town that's surveyed in the county, which of course doesn't tell the whole picture of Donegal. It's clean, but failed to retain its top 10 spot. Now, in relation to the, pardon my ignorance, is this the when they talk about the where is it? The bus station, Letterkenny bus station. Is that the one just inside the entrance to the shopping centre? Is it, or is that across the road where the buses actually stop? I don't know, if I'm honest with you, because I'm not from Letterkenny, as you might be aware. But so what would you see as the Letterkenny bus station? It's probably pretty obvious to you. Right, okay, we were speaking last week to Hugh Harper, and you would know Hugh very tragically 9 months ago. He and Donna lost their beautiful daughter Leona in the Creasler tragedy, and we had this email that came in afterwards. I feel compelled to contact you, having listened to the interview with Mr. Harper 9 months after the awful tragedy. My heart goes out to all the families. As a Creasler resident living very close to the location of the tragedy, I am reminded daily of that awful day. I want to know why there is no communication as to what is going on with the investigation and what is happening in relation to the site. I think the families and community should have some kind of update. Now, I imagine the investigation is going to take as long as it's going to take, and that probably it is a very complex, very detailed, and one which has to be gotten right at the time of it being released. So I can understand perhaps why the investigation is still ongoing. As it relates in relation to what is happening to the site, I think that's the big question for Hugh and his family. And obviously this listener who lives close by also shares that concern. Right. Now, James is on with us. Hi, James.
How you doing, Greg?
I'm all right. You're commenting on the Ryan Tubridy payments.
I just having a wee think about it over the weekend, and suddenly struck me that that 330,000 plus, because we don't know the full figures yet, we'll take it at 330,000. That's over 30 years of payment to some individual on Dole, Job Seekers Allowance, Job Seekers Benefit, and a disability payment.
Yeah.
And when you look at it that way, and that's only his extra. That's nothing to do with his salary. Over 30 years, the average payment's around about 220 a week there on the social welfare for an individual. And if you multiply that over, it's about 11,000 a year, multiplied by 30 years, you have 330,000. And that's only what we know of.
Mm-hmm. And as you say, that's that's the extra, that's the hidden payments, that's not his actual salary.
Aye, and I mean, the disgrace is that RTE was out with a begging bowl. Oh, we can't continue, even though they're getting license fee, most of it. They're getting advertising, and they're also getting, they had got a sort of deal out from the government as well. And for them to turn around saying we've no money, but here's 300,000 plus that. And again, I say that's only what we know of. I think an awful lot more is going to come out, and whenever these counts are done like that.
And does it anger you, James, or what's your emotion when you've heard this story?
Oh, very much so, because I am involved in community work, and I work an awful lot for people with disabilities. And when you look at some of the situations that they're in, that 3,000, never mind 300,000, could make a big difference to their lives, and they're denied. It's like the we talked about it before, about the motorised transport grant was done away with to be replaced with a new, super, more inclusive payment. Never happened. The mobility allowance for new applicants never happened. And as I say, it's 3,000 extra in the year, never mind 330,000, could make an awful big difference for many people with disabilities, and for people as well, particularly rural dwellers that are living out in the country and trying to find work when there is none, and maybe can't afford the transport of their own. So it's angry. Now, I'm not angry with Ryan Tubridy himself. I met him a couple of times. Nice guy. He didn't submit false invoices to RTE. Yes, he should have come out and specified that their salary was wrong whenever it was published. But most people don't have to declare what their salaries is. In Ireland here, I've often seen CEOs, and mind you, everybody's a CEO now, and they would even say that their salary is sacrosanct. But
just in relation to that, and I agree, and look, everyone's entitled to get what they can get. I mean, that's not the bottom line. But given the fact that for the last 5 or 6 years, the payments that he was receiving and others were receiving and were published in the newspapers, and everyone would be aware of them. And given the fact that he's working with other staff who were on much less money than him but did actually take a pay cut, right, 15% pay cut, and then considering that in 2019 he said, I'll never be found wanting is the phrase, isn't it, in terms of taking pay cuts if required. given all of that and the fact that he didn't point out that there was an extra €75,000 resting in his account in the last couple of years and 20 and 30 and 20 in the years before, does and especially given the fact that he was the face of telling us what to do on behalf of the government. I'm not trying to have a pile-on or to invoke personal criticism of it, but I think a more detailed and fulsome explanation from him would be useful, given his very high, very important position, because he's just a normal person like you or I or anyone. But at the end of the day, though, when you're on that money and you're in that position, I think there's a higher sort of accountability requirement than there might be for you or I, James.
Oh, and I thought his comment was a wee bit arrogant, all right, and just sort of smiling myself there when you use that Father Ted speaking there, resting on his account. Yeah, it certainly was. It was resting, very well hidden, and a pay cut obviously didn't apply to this extra money either. But I thought he was a wee bit arrogant with his response on it. He putting all the blame on RTE. He hasn't done anything legally wrong.
No, of course not. No.
But morally wrong, yes. And
RTE probably haven't done anything legally wrong. I mean, maybe they broke some sort of a guideline or something. But look, now that D. Forbes has mounted her horse and is riding off into the sunset, that's it. No one will be held accountable. That's the end of it, really. No one can get sacked. No one. That's pretty. I mean, the story will rumble on. More will come out. But at the end of the day, everyone will point at each other like that old. There's a Spider-Man meme. Where everyone, there's about 8 Spider-Mans pointing at each other. And that's exactly what this will be like. Everyone will point at each other. No one will, the person who was at the head has already departed. And that'll be it. It'll rumble on. People will get angry and then it will die down and we'll continue with the status quo once again. That is the life. That's what it's like here in Ireland. That's the
way things go on here. And if you got 3,000, which maybe you shouldn't have got, they don't pass much heed on you, but 300,000, you're nearly a great man. I've heard people say fair play to him, took whatever he could off them, but it's the license fee payer that's really paying it out at the end of the day. And that, as you say, Greg, that's the usual thing here. Move on to see here. But yet and all, you have people there whose their partner or spouse dies, and if they're 1 week overpaid on social welfare, they're written to say you owe us. It could be just round about 250 to 300 euros. If they were paid one payment more or slightly more than one payment more before social welfare swung into action, I mean, there is an obligation on you to notify social welfare to discontinue a payment. And yet and all, and what's not social welfare having a role in this, although I think Revenue will be looking fairly closely at Ryan's submissions from his company to ensure that money was declared.
I'm sure it is. It was paid through his agent and went into the company which he has with his mother and whatever. Listen, I mean, obviously these people become contractors because it is a way to but you don't pay as much tax, right? So he creates a company, and all of them do as well, all of the top earners, and that company gets paid, and then there's deductibles and all that kind of stuff. But I've no doubt that all that money from Ryan Tubridy's side can be accounted for. It's just how the deal was done.
It's just a sobering thought, Greg, to think that here we are and the amount of time it's taken up, and it might cost an absolute small fortune for review, reporting, all to be done on this. And as you say, right off onto the sunset with no punishment, maybe it's too strong a word for it, but I do feel the board need to go as well.
Yeah, well, we'll see. D. Forbes very critical of the board, but it's just I don't know, do you think it'll ever change in that, the people that dictate our lives to us to some extent, highly paid politicians, all on over 100,000, high paid civil servants, I mean, some of them are on 300, 250,000. They're the ones that, tell us what to do, make the rules for us, decide our lives effectively. And then you have the people that deliver the news that are supposed to be, holding these people to account. There's supposed to be openness and transparency. And as it turns out, they're incredibly highly paid, the people at the very, very top. And, it's just murky. Again, it's another layer of murkiness in this country again. Where does it end? How long do we have to live? Many of us struggling, yet the people that determine our fate, they can do whatever they like. They're beyond reproach, and they just live in this ivory tower, or whatever you might call it, looking down on us, dictating to us, telling us what to think. It's crazy.
Oh, also the permanent staff. No, the mandarin is there in the departments, and it is them that writes the speeches for a lot of the politicians and whatnot, and it is them that guide and shape policy. And you're absolutely right. They're never questioned, and if they do something particularly that people don't like, it's the politician that's blamed. But at the end of the day, the politician blamed, and if he knows when he put himself onto the ring for a job like that yes, you will get a good salary, but if things go pear-shaped, you'll also carry the responsibility. But there, again, as you said earlier, you bear the responsibility, but chances are you'll walk away scot-free.
All right, thanks, James, for your views. If you agree or disagree, 086 60 25,000. Right, we're going to try and unpack what happened in Russia over the weekend after we take this break. Stay right where you are.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July, bringing you the super talented Sharon Shannon on Friday the 7th. See Lennon Festival Remelton on Facebook for ticket information.
Do you live in an older home? Your house might have lead pipes, which may result in lead in your drinking water. It's important to replace them for you and your family's health. Grants of up to €5,000 are now available to help cover the cost of replacement. Apply for the Domestic Lead Remediation Grant Scheme today through your local authority. For more information, visit gov.ie/lead pipes. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Connolly's MG now open in Killiney, County Sligo, the latest addition to the Connolly Motor Group family. Find your perfect MG driving experience with the award-winning range of fully electric and hybrid vehicles at our new showroom at Northwest Business Park, Killiney, County Sligo. Inquire about our full range today with our team on 071 910 6950 or visit our website connellys.ie.
Jake's famous All-American Burgers has crossed the Atlantic and is now in Kelly's American Roadside Diner. Always tasty, always fresh, and so damn satisfying. Call in now for a taste of Southern hospitality at Kelly's American Roadside Diner.
Hi, it's Claire here from Claire Clothing. Our summer sale has started. I have loads of discounts of dresses, tops, trousers, all of the summer stock. So we'll see you at our summer sale in Claire Clothing, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Okay, Professor Donegal O'Bacone joins us on the programme now. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor.
Good morning, Greg.
It's good to have you on the programme. Right, I mean, in terms of things that happen on an international scale, a global scale, it was a remarkable series of events that we witnessed. You'd switch on the news or open Twitter and one thing appeared to be happening, and then you'd switch it on again and another thing. So I suppose let's try and get through this. What happened? Why did Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner mercenary force, why did he turn on the Russian military leadership like he did?
Well, I think there's probably a clue in the title of Wagner, its full title. It's PMC. It's a private military operation. It's not coordinated by the state. It's not the property of the state. And in that sense, the contractual obligations of Wagner are to Yevgeny Prigozhin, not to the Russian state. And there's been a rivalry taking place, for the duration of this invasion of Ukraine between the Minister of Defense, Sergei Shoigu, and Yevgeny Prigozhin. Yevgeny Prigozhin believes that all the Russian failures in Ukraine are because of incompetence at the top, and that Putin more or less should give more to him. And in his fight, he takes credit for any success that takes place, military success from a Russian perspective in Ukraine. And a kind of a key moment came earlier this month, which eluded many people, when the Russian Defense Ministry ordered the Wagner groups to sign contracts with the Russian government, with the Russian military defense. So, this seems to have been brewing for some time. There is no way that they could have captured so much territory so quickly unless they had been planning this for quite some time. So despite the kind of cavalier approach that Yevgeny Prigozhin likes to cultivate, this was something that was planned. I mean, they covered 800 kilometers in a single day. You compare that to Russia's, advance in Ukraine, where they were moving a few meters sometimes every day. I mean, this was a major attack on the Russian state, unprecedented, as Vladimir Putin himself said, since 1917.
And they were able to build up along the Russian border, it seems, some suggesting they've been doing it for months, roll in, take over Rostov with little to no, not a single bullet was fired, and then march up the N4, making, as you mentioned, amazing progress towards Moscow. What happened in such a short amount of time that could have ended this as it did? Now, I'm sure it's not over yet, and we'll tease that out, Donegal, a little bit in a moment. But what could have been? I'm just thinking what the Wagner mercenaries are thinking themselves. I mean, they must follow Prigozhin to the letter of the law. It must, to actually coordinate that, to turn everyone around. Are they not scratching their heads wondering, well, why is he heading to Belarus? So what do you think happened, and what do you think the reaction amongst the PMC might be?
Well, nobody knows what happened. Anybody that tells you otherwise is either woefully misinformed or selling a book, because there's a lot that's not known here. I mean, the idea that Prigozhin is going to, eke out the rest of his life in Belarus is not plausible. Indeed, his existence in the future is not guaranteed. I mean, any security guarantee that you get from Vladimir Putin has to be taken with a grain of salt. I mean, he doesn't tolerate traitors, and he described Yevgeny Prigozhin as a traitor on Saturday on national television, declaring this kind of emergency situation. And, you consider how he dealt with people like Skripal. He sent emissaries to London to poison him. Same with Litvinenko. I mean, he eliminates rivals, he eliminates traitors. So, yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, why did Prigozhin bring his men all this way and then, take them down the hill again? Certainly, there's a lot of unhappiness within Wagner for that reason. A lot of defections, a lot of people are leaving. It's not clear that Wagner as a separate organization has a future, despite the fact that it has tens of thousands of men in Africa propping up dictatorial regimes there. So there's all sorts of theories that have emerged that, members of Prigozhin's family were threatened. Garry Kasparov, many people will know, the chess master, Russian oppositionist, always compares the Russian state to a mafia organization. He says, stop thinking of Russia as a normal state. Think of it like it is a mafia drama, and essentially taking in family members and threatening them with all sorts of things. That's quite possible. It may have been just simply dividing up the spoils. I mean, we all get focusing on the war and think that this is a struggle just about how to prosecute the war in Ukraine. But, Yevgeny Prigozhin is a remarkably wealthy man. Vladimir Putin's a remarkably wealthy man. All the people in the Russian elite, of which there are different factions, are wealthy people. This may have been about dividing up the spoils, and he may have been made an offer that was tempting enough for him to take away the troops, because ultimately it doesn't seem that he was, at least from the outside, looking for a coup. I mean, he doesn't seem to have had a plan to run Russia, so to speak. It was really all the time wanting to be heard. I mean, he was making all these social media pleas to Putin to get rid of Shoigu. And interestingly, Shoigu, the Minister of Defense, hasn't been heard for days now. And there are all sorts of rumors that he's going to be dispatched with whether, I imagine just maybe displaced, but there will be some kind of purge within the Russian elite, in part to assuage Prigozhin, because even though Prigozhin's existence now is an embarrassment to Putin, it undermines his credibility as a dictator, he can't really just go and kill him because he would be a martyr. He proved to be quite popular during these few days. That's the very worrying thing if you're Vladimir Putin, how little resistance was put up. This was an attack on the Russian state. It was an attack on Vladimir Putin's regime, and nobody came out in the streets saying stop. Nobody tried to push back Wagner, not even within the military. That must cause Vladimir Putin some loss of sleep.
Yeah, and what has changed too is that, I mean, the Russian people couldn't have been insulated from what was being claimed as it relates to the motivation for this war, the fact that Russian people were just being sent to their deaths effectively, questioned every premise that Putin had for launching this in the first place. I presume that the public would have got wind of that. And also to, what does someone else say? Right, well, if it's not going to be them, it could be us. Putin is in a very vulnerable position at the moment, clearly, because obviously in terms of security from within, but also in terms of people probably seeing him as weak now. And even the public perhaps seeing him as weak. What's he doing?
Absolutely. No, this is going to be discussed around dinner tables in Russia for a long time to come, because, who comes out as the decisive one as a result of the weekend's events? It's Yevgeny Prigozhin. I mean, he's the one who took the initiative. Vladimir Putin waited 24 hours to make a response. You can imagine they had already tanks protecting government buildings in Moscow and no public statement from Putin. You can imagine if this was Dublin or London or Washington, D.C., and there were tanks protecting government buildings, somebody would come out and make a statement. Putin waited, he vacillated, even though intelligence suggests that he knew that this was coming for at least 24 hours before it happened. And then it was Prigozhin who called it off. Putin didn't make a statement. Lukashenko, it seems, intervened. So Putin looks like he doesn't have the initiative. He seems weak. He seems indecisive. He certainly doesn't seem to be in control. And that means that Russians today are thinking thoughts, I think, that they've never thought before during his presidency, and that's of a Russia without Putin. Because for it seemed brief, but I mean, if you were watching the media as everybody was on Saturday, it seemed awfully like a long time as well. It seemed that it was a Russia without Putin, that the state was going to collapse. And it's very difficult to take yourself back from that feeling of vulnerability. The state no longer has a monopoly of violence, or certainly that Putin doesn't have a monopoly of violence. And that's going to, as he's more than 70 years old, he's not getting any older. And this is certainly not the legacy that he wanted to end with. It was a certain irony there that Saturday was the 16th month anniversary of his address to the Russian people on the invasion of Ukraine. And it was all about projecting Russian power, about making Russia stronger. And here he is 16 months to the day, again addressing the Russian people, trying to tell them that the very state itself is in jeopardy. And of course, he's control over it as well.
Okay. And finally, just again, I can't figure out this Prigozhin thing, right? Because, what do his soldiers think now? I mean, he's off to Belarus, and I think there's some talk of him being able to retire in Africa or something. So who's going to pay their wages? What are they going to do? I mean, if they're absorbed into the Russian army, firstly, they were going to effectively could have been fighting against them. Now they're going to be fighting with them for much less money. Wagner also has interests in other countries. Who's leading them? I mean, what again, and I kind of said this a little earlier on, but I mean, Prigozhin could face threats from within the Wagner Group themselves. Presumably, there are people within it think for themselves and go, "Well, what's going on here? What is he? What deal has he got? What happens to us?"
Absolutely, and again, it's very much like a mafia situation there. It could simply dissolve, and the Russian state could reassert itself. I mean, the Russian newspapers today, some opinionists or opinion columnists have been arguing that it was always a bad thing to outsource, an army, to have a private army in a state. I mean, the rationale behind Wagner was that it allowed the Russian state to do things that normal states generally aren't allowed to do, to send their troops abroad, to openly, support dictators, to get resources from poor countries, things like that. And of course, with the invasion of Crimea in 2014, you remember those little green men with no insignia? That was Wagner. That's where Wagner first came onto the public consciousness for many people. So they were able to do things that, the Kremlin could deny. They gave them this plausible deniability. But that has come back to boomerang them now. So what we might have, going back to your question about the future Wagner, is we might have kind of two Wagners in a way. We might have the Wagner in Ukraine more or less being incorporated into the Russian army, which was the desire certainly expressed by the Ministry of Defense and was the order given earlier this month. But we might have Wagner as a kind of foreign wing in places like Africa still existing, still under the control perhaps of Yevgeny Prigozhin. This may have been part of the deal because remember, nobody has really come forward and told us the details of this deal. All we know is that Moscow was under relentless siege and attack during the weekend. Indeed, the mayor of Moscow said today it was a non-working day because, again, it was not considered that this crisis would go away quickly. And now it has subsided. But what you can be sure of, this is a short-term fix. It's a long-term solution, not a long-term solution. Prigozhin is gone for the moment, but the problems remain.
So very, very finally then, what happens next? And this is crystal ball stuff, because obviously the Ukraine and the West will see the weakness here. They are in the midst of a counter-offensive, which they can accelerate and show a retreating Russian army. Tie that in with, the almost panicked statement from Putin early Saturday morning and the deal that no one knows anything about. Like, how quickly do you think there could be another move on Putin, or something that changes the path of this war that he might choose to do himself? He could perhaps claim some sort of a victory and say enough is enough. Like, how do you think this might play out over the few short weeks and months ahead?
Well, I think it's done irreparable damage to his reputation as a strongman within Russia and also within Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine is going to take advantage of this now that Russia is quite clearly unstable. I mean, Russia's difficulty will be Ukraine's opportunity. And I think it's demonstrated that Putin is actually, in practice, despite his rhetoric, very flexible with his beliefs. You might remember that throughout this war, people have been saying that, Putin says that this is a red line that can't be crossed. So, he has to be given what he wants. And what's demonstrated is that when he's faced with overwhelming force, he backs down. And that's what he did. I mean, he said it publicly that there would be a brutal put down of this rebellion, that there would be punishments, and Yevgeny Prigozhin was a traitor. And by the end of the day, he completely backtracked on all of that. And I think there's a lesson that Ukrainians will take from that, and hopefully their Western partners, is that, Putin responds to strength. I mean, he exploits weaknesses where he sees them, and that's, of course, why he invaded Ukraine, and he's invaded other countries. But when faced with overwhelming military force and the odds against him, he does back down.
All right, thanks so much for all your time this morning. Professor Donegal Obakoin there, a professor of politics at UCD. Fascinating times, it has to be said. OK, let's take a quick break.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July. Experience the incredible ABBA sensations on Saturday the 8th. For ticket information, see Lennon Festival Remelton on Facebook.
2 gig full fibre broadband from Virgin Media has landed in Donegal. Hear that, Aoife? Huh? Time to lose yourself in the latest Scandi crime series.
I have no idea what's going on here.
You should really put on the subtitles.
Fair point.
Whatever your genre, whatever way you play, Virgin Media is here. Switch today at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
Subject to location and availability.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €2,800 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
Looking for the best place in the Northwest to get a bed or mattress? Restex Beds and Mountaintop Letterkenny has a great selection and great prices. Restex Beds has everything you need for a good night's sleep. Visit them today and sleep better tonight.
Donegal Town Hardware are having their Customer Appreciation Day this Saturday with incredible in-store offers. Kids face painting, ice cream van, tea and coffee, and the chance to win a Palermo corner sofa set with storage and fire pit worth over €1,300. Join us and the Dulux dog at the Donegal Town Hardware's 25th anniversary free family fun event this Saturday the 1st of July from 11 a.m.
Now, you're welcome back to the show as we head towards the news at 10, which will have more details on what seems to be an emerging situation. There seems to be quite a significant Garda operation in the Slieve League area of South Donegal, just north along the coast, or west along the coast, I suppose you would say, of Killybegs. We understand that a scene has been sealed off there, and we are investigating that situation. We'll bring it to you as we get the information, but there's definitely a significant situation in that area with access being restricted to a particular point, tape up, and I believe the Rescue 118 helicopter has been dispatched as well. But as I say, stay with us. We'll bring you more details on that just as soon as we get it. Some of your comments on some of the stories we've been talking about this morning. does this resignation loophole taken by civil servants need to be closed? I would say yes. I think we, as the taxpayer, deserve accountability, and if it can be avoided by simply resigning, there has to be consequences, doesn't there? Another, as its employer, why can't the Oireachtas refuse to accept DFO's resignation until after any inquiry? But I forgot this is Ireland. I think we may be overreacting to the Ryan Tubridy debacle. I was in my local supermarket yesterday buying the Sunday paper. I remarked to the assistant aged 18 or 19 about Tubridy's overpayment. She asked, who's he? It seems RTE and mainstream media are irrelevant to the young of Ireland. Yeah, indeed. And there was recent studies show that more and more of them are getting the news elsewhere. But that being said, this story is being delivered now to TikTok and other places young people are more likely to hang about. Greg, do you really think Ryan Tubridy was the only one getting these payments? I would doubt it. I don't know. Another, hi Greg, I've paid a TV licence for over 40 years. I won't be paying the next one. Can you let me know if the TV licence stamps can be cashed in at the post office, as I buy these and I can't afford a one-off payment every year, but I will never again pay the TV licence. I will go to jail if that be the case now, says one very passionate listener there. Another, let's not forget Ryan, through his shows on radio and TV, raised a lot of money and did great things for this country. Ireland is far too quick to seek ahead on a plate. Indeed, and I think that's been recognised. I don't see a great deal of criticism directed at Ryan Tubridy, if the truth be told, and I'm not certainly trying to create that either here. Yes, he did. That platform, the Late Late Show, did raise an awful lot of money for charity. Hi, Greg. Never seen anyone having an issue with RTE like you have. Why do Highland not release the wages of staff? Well, firstly, it's a private company. Secondly, we'd love it. I think we'd love it because there's an awful lot of people out there who think that because people in RTE get paid huge amounts of money, that we must as well. No, it's a completely different thing. It's a much smaller business, much smaller scale. I'm not Ryan Tubridy or Joe Duffy or any of those for that matter. I would be doing cartwheels for his extra payments that he didn't let on he was getting. Let me put it like that. I would be over the bloody moon. So it's a private company, so if they wanted to, they can. But I think there's that's. I understand exactly where you're coming from. In terms of me having an issue with RTE, I don't actually really have an issue with RTE per se. I just think that some of the wages are astronomical, and I think it's a little bit unfair that people who sort of try and tell other people what to think are on so much money when the people they're speaking to are downtrodden and under the foot, so to speak. But anyway, I don't really actually have a problem with RTE. Maybe it comes across like that, but anyway, they're in the news at the moment. Bertie Dunnett, the leader of our country, and he's going to join the government again. Ireland is a laugh, says the listener there. Morning, Greg. I'm so sick of the corruption in our country. I struggle to pay a TV licence every year, and why should I pay it when it is... why have I gone... My headphones have gone off. I'll have them back on again. I'll start reading that again. I couldn't hear myself. Greg, so sick of the corruption in our country. I struggle to pay a TV licence every year. Why should I pay when it's used to pay people over €500,000 in wages? The Irish people just sit back and take it. We need more men and women like Paddy Diver to get us motivated into protesting on the streets. Thank you, they say. Greg, cannot a case be made for the RTE that RTE really needs to be stood down, since it is little more than a state monopoly enriching its own rich presenters, and instead open up the marketplace to free competition and let smaller stations like Highland move into the Irish market? Well, we can't even move into South Donegal, for crying out loud. Such is the way this country is set up. I'll tell you what I think, for what it's worth. I don't really have time to tell you what I think. I think RTE 1 News, RTE 1 TV and RTE Radio 1 definitely should be retained. I think other stations where there are commercial operations already operating in that space, I think that's a waste of your money personally. I think 2FM should be commercial only. It shouldn't be paid by licence fees money, because you've got so many iRadio here, Today FM. Do you know what I mean? It should be an equal competition playing field. But anyway, maybe we can tease that out a little more at another time. Back after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Ramelton from the 6th to the 10th of July, featuring the talented Jimmy Buckley live on Sunday the 9th. Tickets are just €10 and pay at the gate.
Renault.
As a professional, you want your van to be as efficient as you. Efficient with time and efficient with space. The new Renault Kangoo Van E-Tech 100% electric is made for you. With up to 300 kilometres of range, fast charging as standard, and 3.9 cubic metres of loading capacity. New Renault Kangoo Van E-Tech 100% electric from €96 per week for those who never stop. Offer is made under hire purchase agreement. Instalments are taken monthly. Terms and conditions apply. See Renault.ie.
With July around the corner, it's time to get your 232 ordered. With finance starting from 2.9%, find out why Kia is dominating the Irish market. With diesel, hybrid and electric models. Order before the 30th of June and receive a €500 Super Value gift card as well. Call into iMotors today and choose your new Kia.
Want to live a more sustainable lifestyle, but not too sure how to start? Join me, Donna Marie Doherty, every Tuesday at 12:30 for It's Ours to Protect to learn all the tips and tricks. Ours to Protect is funded by Commission Limon with a television licence fee and is a partnership between Highland Radio and the Independent Broadcasters of Ireland. Check out ourstoprotect.ie for more info.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donal Kavanagh at the news desk. Gardaí and the Rescue Willamette helicopter are currently involved in an ongoing operation in the Slieve League area. The Irish Coast Guard have confirmed to Highland Radio News they are assisting Gardaí but would give no further details. Gardaí have confirmed there is no access to Slieve League this morning, but again, they would make no further comment at this time. Defective Blocks Ireland is to file a formal complaint to the European Commission against the Irish state. The complaint, spearheaded by Coleman Legal, seeks to highlight the state's negligence in implementing crucial measures to oversee construction product manufacturing. It's separate from the ongoing High Court legal action. With more, here's Tara Duggan.
Bring attention to the consequences of the state's shortcomings and the need for immediate action. The complainants include Liam and Gráinne O'Doherty and Alan Bowl, who are lead plaintiffs in the High Court litigation, as well as hundreds of other affected individuals who've expressed their intent to join the complaint, which has already been signed by hundreds. Furthermore, the complaint addresses breaches of the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights, including Article 2, the right to life, Article 3, the right to integrity of the person, as well as impacts on the right to property and family life. Adrian Sheridan, founder of Defective Blocks Ireland, says the primary objective is to highlight the failures of the Irish state, advocate for corrective measures and rectify the ongoing situation resulting from the sale and use of defective construction products.
Meanwhile, there's been another indication that the implementation of the Defective Concrete Block Grant Scheme is imminent. It's understood the regulations are to be signed off this week after many false dawns. The chair of the Micah Action Group, however, says there is still no guarantee or definitive date as to when this will happen. Talks took place last week between Donegal County Council and the Department of Housing, with the Council's Chief Executive John McLaughlin saying he believes genuine and valid concerns that were raised are being heard. Lisa Hone says the continuous delay is evidence that denying pre-legislative scrutiny on the bill was for nothing.
It just utterly makes a mockery of their statement this time last year when they refused pre-legislative scrutiny on the grounds of urgency. That the scheme is not yet signed off. The pre-legislative scrutiny is a process which would have served to really interrogate the legislation and produce better quality legislation, eliminate its issues now and also on implementation.
The Labour Court is beginning a hearing this morning in a bid to break the deadlock in a dispute threatening the country's retained fire services. Over 2,000 firefighters at 200 stations across the country have staged rolling strikes over pay and conditions. An all-out strike was to have begun this week, but SIP2 suspended the action to allow for today's talks at the Labour Court. Dee Forbes has resigned as Director General of RTE with immediate effect. She has apologised for her part in the ongoing controversy surrounding the extra payments given to Ryan Tubridy, adding that as Director General she is the person ultimately accountable. Her resignation means she is no longer compelled to appear immediately before the Oireachtas Media and Public Accounts Committees this week. Sinn Féin's media spokesperson Imelda Munster believes that Dee Forbes still should come before the committees.
What she said was that she cares deeply about RTE and the people that work for it, and that she's the person ultimately accountable. So on those grounds alone, if you're to take her resignation statement as genuine, you would imagine that she would want to assist in clearing matters up and answer the questions that everybody needs answers to.
The cleanliness of Letterkenny has slipped, according to IBAL's latest litter survey. The town's been ranked 21st out of 40 towns and cities in Ireland, down from 6th place last year. According to Antashka, which carried out the survey, a number of sites missed the top litter grade, while the cleanliness of the Bryson recycling facility and Letterkenny Town Park was commended. However, the bus station was found to be the most heavily littered site in the town. Maynooth in Kildare came out as the cleanest town in Ireland. Dundalk was the dirtiest. Conor Horgan, spokesperson with IBAL, says better scores can be achieved with a small amount of work.
It is still clean, and that is the main thing. I suppose the other good news is that there was only one heavily littered site in the town. That was Letterkenny bus station. Very unusual, actually, to find a bus or train station in such bad condition. Other than that, there were just a number of sites that failed to hit the top litter grade. The Dunfanaghy Approach Road, Letterkenny Shopping Centre Park. Antashka inspector says with a little effort, cleanliness could easily be achieved in these areas.
Works are ongoing in Ballybofey to fix a burst water main. Residents and businesses are advised the repairs may cause disruptions in Dreenan, Ballybofey and surrounding areas. Works are scheduled to take place until 2 o'clock this afternoon. A traffic management plan will be in place for the duration of the works. Well, the forecast, and after a generally cloudy start with isolated showers, we can expect some drier spells later in the afternoon. Top temperatures today of 16 to 19 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, have a very good morning.
The obituary notice says for this Monday morning, June the 26th. The death has taken place of Anthony McLaughlin, Fernbank, Redcastle. Anthony's remains are reposing at his home, where you're welcome to pay your respects today from 6 o'clock until 11 o'clock and tomorrow and Wednesday from 1 o'clock until 11 o'clock. Anthony's funeral mass will take place on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock in St Columba's Church Drung, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations if desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of any family member. Anthony's funeral mass can be viewed live on stcolumbusdrung.net. The death has taken place of Grace McShane, née Doherty, Jackie Dunaff Uris Clamani. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral leaving from there on Wednesday morning at 10:15, going to St Michael's Church Uris for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desire to the Donegal hospice, care of any family member or Comsky funeral directors. House private, please, from 10 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Family and friends only, please, on the morning of the funeral. Funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. And the death has occurred of Colm Grant, 17, at the Cottages, Burnfoot, reposing at his home this morning from 11 o'clock. Removal on Wednesday morning at 10:15 to St Angus's Church, Burt, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. Colm's Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, from 11 o'clock until 11 o'clock and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desire to Cree, Heart and Stroke Charity, care of any family member. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Edel Cashman, liver transplant recipient, encourages you to talk about organ donation with your family.
People say it's the gift of life, and that's almost become a cliche. But it literally is the gift of new life. It's just so important for people to talk about organ donation because it's not something I would have given a second thought to before it became my life.
For information, visit hse.ie/organ donation and start talking about organ donation today. From the HSE.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Okay, you are very welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show this Monday morning. I hope we do find you very well indeed. Greg, why are we criticising Putin? Look at our own government. As we know, Europe wants everything in Russia and it's only part of Ukraine that the war is in. Why listening to lies on media TV? Well, I actually get most of my, if the truth be told, I track most of those events in Ukraine and Russia via Telegram. some people who tweet on behalf of, not tweet, but send telegrams out on behalf of Russia, others on behalf of Ukraine. I don't switch on BBC News to get an assessment as to what's happening over there. I source my own information, and I was tracking everything that was happening over the weekend, a half an hour before it was even mentioned in the mainstream media, so to speak. Greg, please remind anyone travelling abroad to check their passports. Neither the Passport Office or Ryanair notify you that is out of date, and by the time you put this information in for your boarding pass, it's far too late. Also, the lottery of spending hours online, the passport urgent slot, is not only tediously unnecessary but highly frustrating, and beware of conflicting information from Passport Office staff over the phone, as this will add further to your frustration. If you can go to the Passport Office in person and go to passport queries, sadly, it was too late for me to learn all of this. I missed a fantastic family wedding, so please avoid disappointment. Check your passport. I've wrote to Ryanair and Micheál Martin about this matter. A lapsed passport should be notified just like driving licences are, and when booking flights you should have to enter, along with your passport number, your passport expiry date. Now, I get exactly where you're coming from. The couple of problems there is a lot of people might not necessarily have their new passport in their hand by the time they're booking their flights. And also, I don't think we're ever going to get to a point, though we should, that the likes of Ryanair, and there's thousands of airlines, that they're going to notify you of your passport. I think it's one of those that you're sort of expected to be able to check yourself, because the rules on your passport and when it expires are different in loads of different countries. But anyway, the listener says, when booking flights, you should have to enter your passport you should have to enter your passport number and your passport expiry date to remind you when it's due. This would be good practice. Also, the frustrating urgent passport slot system should be made a first come first served queuing one, and not the maddening lottery that it presently is. Well, I'm really sorry that you lost out on that family wedding. It sounds very disappointing. My father, says this listener, died on a Monday, and as he had a fortnightly cheque from the county council where he had worked, he had got his pension the week before, and as he had died at the beginning of 1 week, we got a letter from the county council looking for one of these week's pensions back, and that was about a week after he died. Indeed, I think now it was similar with someone in my family. They weren't an employee of the council, but they did very quickly look for any overpayment of pension after the date of their death back. The only way the public can get RTE back is not pay the TV licence. It's the only weapon we have, because it's going to be brushed under the carpet. But whilst that might be, your non-paying of the TV licence wouldn't, and you could face sanction. In Ireland today, if something is legal, it doesn't have to be morally right. This legal seems to be a licence to do anything in any way. It's even a licence to kill, as far as innocent without a voice are concerned. Strange laws, strange society. Morning, Greg. So sick of the corruption in our country. I struggle to pay a TV licence every year. And why should I pay it when it's used to pay people over €500,000 in wages? The Irish people just sit back and take it. We need more men, women. Oh, I've read that one like Paddy Differ. Okay. As I was saying before 10, I think in terms of the news output, this might not be a popular point of view. The good work of the news teams that comes out from time to time, the investigative stuff, the sport and stuff, the public service element of RTE Radio 1 and RTE TV 1, I think, there is an argument for them to be sustained by some sort of a licence fee. But RTE 2... or much of RTE2, if you mix it with some of RTE, is just shows you can watch on free satellite TV anyway, if you look what's going on during the day. As I said earlier on, likes of Lyric FM, fine, that's funded by the licence payer, and this is no criticism of the people working there, but that could be a commercial entity. It could be just a standalone radio station. 2FM, as I say, they have access to huge pools of fun to sort of promote breakfast shows or whatever it might be. They're operating in the same space as Today FM, as iRadio and all the other commercial radio stations. I don't see a justification for the licence fee funding 2FM like it does. I don't really think the licence fee needs to fund that whole swathe of digital channels that are there. I think they should be either, they should just have to compete commercially with every other radio station. Now, as I say, there is probably a stronger argument for the retention of RTE Radio 1 and RTE 1, the TV channel. But anyway, as I say, this is a discussion. That's just not necessarily my view, it's my view off the top of my head, but it's just to get a conversation going because, you know, there is a conversation here about the future of the state broadcaster. That's just a fact. Right, let's take a break for the bingo numbers.
The county's number one talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonher Road, Donegal Town.
Enjoy summer with Home Store and More. We have everything you need for garden living. Bring your garden to life with our great range of garden furniture. We've rat and corner sets, dinner sets and much more. And when it comes to barbecues, whether it's gas, charcoal or smoker, we've got what you need to cook up a storm. Also, there's fire pits, chimeneas and patio heaters, gazebos, solar lights, garden decor and much, much more. Visit us in store or shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Make your garden your sanctuary. Home Store and More. A happy home.
The groom goes free. The groom goes free. Yes, you heard it. The Groom's Room. Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. The groom goes free. Call in today. Terms and conditions apply.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July. Save the date and gather your friends for an incredible lineup featuring Sharon Shannon, ABBA Sensations and Jimmy Buckley.
Right, now, the bingo numbers, skip through them slightly there, so please stay where you are. I'll play them for you after our next item. They're available on our website, but I do want to play them out for you, so bear with me. We'll get that for you very, very shortly. Now, one-of-a-kind culinary experience on the Wild Atlantic Way will take place this coming Saturday, the 1st of July. It's between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. in the Corcregan Mill, Dunfanaghy. Taste Donegal Wild Atlantic flavours like never before. It's a new collaboration between 3 talented female entrepreneurs from Donegal who are passionate about the art of food production. Marion O'Donnell, here we go again. Shan. Sorry, Shan. Every time. Right. I know it's one of two and I go for the wrong one every bloody time. And Cindy Adamek from Cocoa Millis. Is that correct? Millish, okay. That's milk, is it? Millish? Sweet? Oh, no. Okay. This has started really well, hasn't it? Anyway, let's... Shan and Cindy, good morning to you, both of you. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thanks for having us.
Right, okay. So tell us how you began working together, or what's the... do you want to go first, Cindy? How did this all come about?
Well, we met in Philadelphia. We went there with a... Donegal Leo. Yeah, took us to do a food marketing course. And that's where we met. And we started talking on the bus, going to different places. We started to talk about workshops and how could we, share our knowledge. And that's how it happened.
And talk to me about Cocoa Millish. What is that?
Well, Cocoa Millish is a bean-to-bar chocolate. We make chocolate from scratch. It's the way chocolate's meant to be. And we use natural ingredients, sustainable packaging, compostable, which is important to us.
How different does your product taste from, what people who have only consumed Cadbury's or something chocolate tastes like? Well, is it a different experience, and how is it different? It's
absolutely a different experience, and that's how I started. I went to Mexico when I was 15 years old, visited a cocoa farm and tasted what chocolate really is, and it's something completely different to what we're used to, the mass-produced, and using vegetable oils and stuff like that shouldn't be there, and it's completely different.
All right, okay.
It tastes like the cacao beans, the way it should be.
Yeah. Sean, can you tell the difference between...
Oh, yes. The chocolate's absolutely beautiful. I'm a big fan. And my husband isn't really a chocolate fan.
But he likes cocoa milk.
He steals it and hides it. So, yeah.
Well, I have some here for you to try and tell me.
Okay, right. When? And Sean, talk to me about your role in this and your company.
Well, I own Wild Fuchsia Bakehouse, and we had a bakery in Dunfanaghy, but we were closed for 15 months out of 18 over lockdown and COVID. So we had started making bread mixes and we had won 3 awards. So what we did was we closed the bakery and we concentrated on our bread mixes. So we have a scone mix, soda, stout and wheaten, and we're working on a new one now, a potato bread mix.
So this allows people to create these breads in their own home. You do the hard work effectively, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Well, when I did a little bit of research about why people don't bake, because I just love baking. It's my happy place. So apparently people don't like the mess and the fuss, and then they buy in all this flour and things, and then they end up a year later throwing it out.
Yeah, I would say everyone listening to this programme has at least 1.5 bags of flour in the cupboard.
Yeah. Well, these are...
And probably the other half of bags on the floor of the cupboard.
So these are single use and they're very easy to use. And we also supply a lot of different ideas. So if you don't... I like to use buttermilk when I'm baking bread. But if you don't have buttermilk, then you can use a plant-based alternative. You can use ordinary milk.
But that being said, if you're accumulating all the other ingredients, it's really easy. It's not too difficult to pick up buttermilk now as well for the perfect experience.
Yeah, well, exactly. But it's just if you have it in the cupboard and then somebody calls unexpectedly, you can always...
It's not cheating, Sian, is it? No?
No, not when
I don't think it is. I think it's working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Isn't that it? Yeah.
All we do is weigh out the ingredients for you and give you the recipe. That's
Brilliant.
it.
And where do you market your stuff? Well, not market, you're marketing now, I suppose, but where is it available for people to buy? Do you stock? Does anyone stock it, or do you sell it direct to customer?
No, we're in local shops. So we're in local Dunfanaghy shops. We're in the Counter. We're in Super Value. We did the Food Academy, so we're in a lot of the Donegal Super Values, and we're in a lot of shops around Donegal, and we're in a few in the north, and we're also on Amazon as well, so that was exciting.
Yeah. And do you find, because some of it can be seen as some of the product, if not all, traditionally Irish, do you sort of get a lot of people that feel that that's a taste of Ireland that can boast to their friends about, say, look what I got from Ireland, this is exactly how it tastes there, sort of sell the dream?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. So we're also in places like Glenveigh and the Workhouse in Dunfanaghy, and they sell very well there. And we ship to hamper companies, so they ship to the States. So that's it exactly. It's a little taste of
your
home.
Tato, your Kerry Gold, and your...
Yeah,
exactly
so we'd love to get to Australia. That would be the next.
Yeah, that seems where half the country is now, so it makes sense. Marianne O'Donnell, talk to me about her business, because she's not here, obviously.
Yeah, Marianne makes kombucha, which is lovely, and it's...
fermented tea.
Yeah, fermented tea, and it's very good for your gut health, but it also tastes fantastic. So Marianne's going to be using some... I make jams as well, just to go in my hampers that I sell online, and Marianne's going to be using some of my jam in her kombucha.
Brilliant.
And we're trying to use each other's products as part of the class.
It's a harmony of entrepreneurs. It's a harmony of women in business. It's a harmony of flavours.
Yeah.
So it kind of really works well together. I should ask, before we talk about the actual event and what people can experience, Cindy, your Cocamillish, do you sell direct to consumer, or is it in shops?
I do. I have it in the Counter Deli and Harbour Road in Bombay, and the Grazing Goat in Monaghan, and there's a few other shops that are coming on board.
We're doing
soon.
We're doing amazing things, aren't we? Really, and individuals in little pockets of the world, aren't we? And do you source your beans, your cocoa beans? It is a bean, isn't it? You source them from
Nicaragua. From organic farms.
Yeah,
and I contact farmers, personally.
So you don't have a sort of an asterisk saying I'm doing something to support sustainable farming. You're actually dealing with them directly and making sure that they get good deals. Yeah,
exactly.
And that's important to have an ethos in a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is okay. Right. Okay. So, talk to me about the workshop then. How's this all going to work?
So we're each going to teach the participants some of our skills. So this first class, I'm going to be teaching people how to make scones, and some tips and tricks of things to avoid when you're making scones. And we're also going to make raspberry jam, because it's...
Where's this chocolate?
No, I have it here.
You can't wait.
Come on, man.
Hiding it.
Say something's there and not... So I'm going to just taste this, because there's a lot here. Is this for all... For everybody to try, yeah. Sorry, Sian.
No, you're okay.
You know what you have to do. You keep talking till I stop chewing.
Okay. So the plan is that we're going to do more
Packaging
courses.
is lovely.
It is. It's beautiful, isn't it? So we're going to do more courses. So we'll cover things like making chutneys and jellies. We'll do cake baking, and maybe Christmas I'll do mince pies and cranberry jelly. So we've got lots of plans. So I'm kind of doing the chutney jam side and the baking side, and then
I'll be making truffles, chocolate truffles, using different ingredients like Irish whiskey. I'll be using Shan's jams to make the white chocolate ones, and I'll be using caramel sauce from Love a Little sauces, and so just to combine Donegal products.
Yeah. And
keep going, Sean. Keep going.
And Marianne will be using some of the jam in her kombucha, and I'm actually really looking forward to learning how to make kombucha because it's gorgeous. So
That's
we've got lots
chocolate.
of plans.
Come here, we'll come back to that in a second. Let's talk about this chocolate. I'll show the packaging for those people who are watching. It's beautifully done. But it is it's obviously chocolate, because I didn't know what it was going to taste like, right? But it is chocolate.
It is. Did you taste the beans?
But it's delicious. Like, it's so full of flavour, but it doesn't feel like it's full of salt, not salt, but sugar and stuff.
No.
And the aftertaste is absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't it just?
Just sits there. Wow, lovely. Would you cook with that?
Yeah, you can.
Is that appropriate to cook with it?
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to anything you said. So, Cindy, you said things.
I said I'm going to make truffles.
Lovely. And Sean, you just kept talking for me, didn't you? So I ate chocolate.
Yeah, no, I'm making scones.
And do we
jam.
know what Marianne's going to be doing as part of the first experience?
Yes, she's going to show us how to make kombucha, but also get...
Kombucha's fascinating. Fermented tea, I'm trying to imagine what that might be, but anyway.
Yeah, so she's going to allow people to make their own flavours, so she'll come with a variety of ingredients, and then people can make their own kombucha, and then they'll get...
She left a few bottles here as well.
Okay,
yeah,
brilliant.
To try.
Okay.
And then people will get to take home a wee jar of jam and...
what kind of people do you think might turn up?
Foodies.
Yeah, people that want to sort of explore flavour.
Yeah,
exactly. And you know, I want to take away the myth about that baking's hard, because it's not. You just need to know a few wee tips and tricks that will help you get it
and
right.
listen, I think anyone who cooks, you do it for yourself, of course, but you do it for feedback. So if you make your bread or your scones and someone goes, oh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
It just sort of encourages you, doesn't it?
Definitely. And it's going to be hands-on, so it's not something that they're going to be watching, so they can participate
and what was going to ask then, in terms of the three of you will be there, people will turn up, as you say, you get people involved. Just on the flavour of that chocolate. Chocolate is already, I imagine, it's a little bit like coffee, isn't it? It's a little bit like wine, but less harmful for you than wine, in that, you know, you can become a bit of an aficionado of it, and, you know, you could you could probably have a stab at where a bean came from, couldn't you?
Sorry?
You could have a stab at where a particular bean came from.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
So I tried different beans from different parts of the world, and they all taste different, they smell different, and that one was the one that I absolutely loved, because it has notes of cinnamon and berries.
But what's different about that is there's different tastes as you're eating it. You know, so say you have
and that's exactly,
so say you have a regular, say you have Cadbury's chocolate milk or something, right? You bite into it, and that's what it is. But that, as you're chewing it's almost coffee-ish, and then there's chocolate, but then it just leaves this nice taste on your palate afterwards.
And the difference with the
and I can still feel the coffee, the one sugar in my coffee, but I can still taste that. You know, sometimes you have sweets and the... go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, and that you should experience with chocolate. And the mass-produced one, all you feel is sugar, because it's just loaded with sugar and
then they
just
tell you
vegetable oils.
They pour milk into it, and that makes you feel good about the sugar.
Yes.
So that's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we use coconut sugar, which is a lot better for you than refined sugar, and doesn't spike the blood sugars. The sugars in blood, and it tastes lovely.
Okay, so you're making truffles. It's going to be lovely. I like the whole idea of the jams and the chutneys as well, if people want to get a little bit more sort of into it. So how do people, firstly, I mentioned where they are, aren't they? Corcraig and Mill, Dunfanaghy. Saturday between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. A nice little thing for someone to do for themselves on a Saturday. Yeah. I think a lot of people give over the weekends when they've worked hard all week to other people. And I think sometimes we need to make a little bit of space for something we'd enjoy, to go and chill out for the few hours on a Saturday afternoon for yourself.
Exactly, and we're going to supply a nice lunch as well, and of course when we're making the scones we'll have to eat them, so we'll have lots of nice treats as well. And people can book on Eventbrite. We've put the tickets there, so
Lovely.
we've still
And what
a
do
few
they
left.
search? We'll link it here, but what do they search for on Eventbrite, or where's the link?
Donegal Wild Atlantic Flavours, and we're also
Brilliant.
on Instagram and Facebook, and you can book from there as well. So
Okay, super
really
stuff.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you work well together. I think you all complement each other as well.
Yeah, we all got on so well when we were in Philadelphia, and that was a fantastic experience. So
Good.
it's nice to bring it all back to Donegal.
And do you feel you've been supported in your endeavours? I know you were taken out to Philadelphia with Leo, and I hear great things about that. But is there a sense now we're better at supporting entrepreneurship and people with ideas like yours that you can say, you know, I can actually do this here. I can create this product that could sit on any shelf anywhere in the world. Like, do you get a sense that there's more support for what you're doing now?
Yes, certainly.
Absolutely. Between Leo and Udras,
Good.
they've been very, very good to us.
And we have the Donegal Food Coast,
Yes.
which is a great initiative, and people can log on, have a look at all the different restaurants.
I'm
and
looking at that
hotels.
bag. Sean, what's in the bag? Can you just hand me the bag?
There's,
I thought,
there's
is that for me? Is that
scones,
for
yes,
us? Okay.
Scones and jam.
Is the butter?
No,
I'll bring my own butter.
I
It'll not be.
forgot.
It'll not. No, it's not your fault. It's not scones or jam that will kill me. It's the butter.
Nice salty butter. We had a whole conversation
Well,
about
that's.
that
I'm
in
gonna have to.
Philadelphia.
Unfortunately, I can share the chocolate, but they're coming with me.
That's
mine.
yours.
Yeah.
Listen, I hope I think it's going to be lovely. I think you love working together, and I think it's going to be lovely for anyone who attends. So go to. What's the Facebook called? Or
It's Donegal Wild Atlantic Flavours.
Right, Donegal Wild Atlantic Flavours, and you can book your slot. It's this coming Saturday. It's between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. in beautiful Dunfanaghy too. If you ever needed an excuse to go to Dunfanaghy at the weekend, why not make it so? Sean, it's been great having you in. Great to see you again. Cindy, thank you so much. I didn't know we had Coca Millish creating chocolate here in our little corner of the world, and it tastes absolutely fantastic. Where did you say you can get it again?
You can get it in the Counter Deli and Harbour Road in Bunbeg and online.
Yeah, it is lovely. And your products, again, you mentioned the local places that are supplying them, and they're on Amazon as well.
Yeah. So we're in the Counter as well, and the likes of McAuliffe's and Centra and Dunfanaghy, and we're in quite a few shops around the county. So.
Okay, hopefully exciting times ahead. Certainly going to be good fun next Saturday. Thanks both of you very much for calling in, and continued success.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 26th of June. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S6. It's game number 26. The numbers are 70, 11, 19, 29, 23, 77, 33, 75, 71, and finally 39. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till Noon Show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July, bringing you the super talented Sharon Shannon on Friday the 7th. See Lennon Festival Remelton on Facebook for ticket information.
Edel Cashman, liver transplant recipient, encourages you to talk about organ donation with your family.
People say it's the gift of life, and that's almost become a cliche. But it literally is the gift of new life. It's just so important for people to talk about organ donation, because it's not something I would have given a second thought to before it became my life.
For information, visit hse.ie/organ donation and start talking about organ donation today. From the HSE.
Hi, it's Claire here from Claire Clothing. Our summer sale has started. I have loads of discounts off dresses, tops, trousers, all of the summer stock. So we'll see you at our summer sale in Claire Clothing, Main Street, Letterkenny.
At Heron Auto Opel, we're half full type of people, which is how we come up with the Opel 50/50 finance offer. Choose from the Opel Crossland, Corsa or Mokka. Select your flexible payment option, pair it with 3 years free servicing and meet your new other half. Discover more about Opel's 50/50 offer at the Opel Open Road event. See heronopel.ie for details. Finance is provided by way of a consumer hire purchase agreement by Bank of Ireland Finance. Lending criteria and conditions apply over 18s only. Ownership remains with Bank of Ireland until the final payment is made. Bank of Ireland trading as of Bank of Ireland Finance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Hi folks, Paul McDavid here. I invite you to join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for another edition of the Monday Night Session. On the show this week, we welcome local band Working Title. The Finn Valley Men's Choir will also be dropping in for a chat and a few songs. And we'll also be talking to Tree House Presents about up-and-coming gigs happening in Bundoran. So that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on Highland Radio.
Okay, now those of you watching would have seen some behind-the-scenes action as we put in place, with full transparency, a rather modest trombola. Is that what they're called? We are joined in studio now by Isabel, Chair of Donegal Hospice. Hi, Isabel.
Hello, Greg. How are you? Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you in. And also, Breege Dolan, who's here for the glamour, really. Breege is not doing much speaking, are you, Breege? You're just here to bring a bit of glamour to the whole thing. And to make sure you keep Isabel in check. Breege, of course, is a volunteer with Donegal Hospice and has been selling an awful lot of tickets, and we're going to be doing that draw now. Right, so talk to me how we've arrived at this point, Isabel.
Well, we had a wee patient in the hospice and his name was John Sheridan, and he sent for me one evening and he wanted to talk to me, and he said, I want to donate my Ford Pop sit-up and beg car to the hospice, which he did. And I got all the paperwork, I have it all here, and the keys, and he said to me at the time, he said, I want to give something back to the hospice. I could give a donation or I could do donations in lieu of flowers, but I want to give something back to them. And so we're here now, a year on, and the tickets sold very well for it. He thought at the time if I got anything from 10 to 12,000, it would be very good, but he said that would be pushing it. So we're now sitting at 27,000, Greg.
I mean, there's something so incredibly amazing and incredibly sad happening here all at the same time, in that we are, and I feel genuinely honoured to be a part of, we are fulfilling John Sheridan's wishes here.
Yeah,
that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
To be able to do that.
The wee cars outside there, I brought her up on Saturday when Paul McDavid was on.
Right.
And I don't think Paul wanted to announce anything because he wants it for himself. But anyway,
did he buy a ticket? He
did.
Okay.
He did. He bought a ticket weeks ago. But anyway, she's outside, and just hope it goes to a good owner. And you know.
And John, it's a familiar story, isn't it? In that, now John was 81 years of age when he passed away, but he might not have been fully aware until such time as he went to avail of the hospice services, precisely what it was. Yeah. He was moved by that.
He was. He came into us, and I think that's when he got his pain relief and all seen to, and he was just overwhelmed by the care and the care that his family got, so that's why he wanted to give something back. Now,
you talked about, as it turns out, John's rather modest expectations of 10 to 12, he thought. And did you give the figure, is the figure public as to what was raised?
Yeah, 27,000.
Wow. So that's remarkable, isn't it? And Breege, I know you don't want to speak, but you know this is the 9 till noon show, so deal with it. It wasn't hard to sell tickets for this, was it? Because it's such a unique type of thing, isn't it? And the message and the story with it as well.
So whenever people heard the story, then they didn't hesitate at all about buying tickets. And everybody, they just loved the wee car. And once they seen the colour of it and everything and looked around it, they didn't hesitate at all to buy any tickets.
Yeah, and the story and the history and the documentation.
And the history of the whole thing and everything.
It was a car John was very fond of, I take it. Isabel.
He had a few cars. He had a few cars, but that was his favourite.
All right, lovely stuff.
So I hope it goes well now. And as I say, I'm getting very attached to the wee car. I might have to put on a wee bid on her. If whoever buys or gets her, if they're selling her, I'll have to chat to them.
Okay, right. Shall we do the draw then? Now, just as we were going on air, and as I say, it was on camera to some extent, we did give that a good rotation, but just to satisfy people, Here, I'll help you here. Hold the pan.
The hamster drum.
I wasn't going to say anything about it. Okay, right. So open it up and dig deep. Now everyone can see what's going on here. And we're going in deep. And someone is about to win this beautiful car. And out it comes. And the winner is...
Peter Brown.
Peter Brown. Here, give me that and I'll hold it up here. There's no private information on that.
No,
Is there? Yeah, I'll cover the number. So there it is. That's... let me switch cameras here. Peter Brown, we have your mobile. I'm starting to take credit for this now. I've had nothing to do with it. But Peter Brown there is the winner. I've covered his number. And ticket 1242.
Yep.
I'll give that to you.
Thanks.
And Peter, congratulations. You have won this 1951. Now, you say that. 51 is...
1959.
59. Well, 50s. I've got 51 written here. Anyway, be that as it may, this is a beautiful old vehicle that's been well cared for. It's a prized possession. It is the late John Sheridan's beloved 1959 Ford Popular car, and it's going to find a new home if we can rip it out of Isabel's hands. All right. Come here. How... encouraging is it to get this level of support for the work that you do, you know,
this
is really vital funding that goes to do amazing stuff, Isabel.
It is, Greg, and there's just an awful lot happening with hospice at the moment because we're running the J for June as well, and as I say, we had 121k for that last year and it's going good this year as well, so just waiting on a good few more jives in.
Including Caroline.
Caroline and yourself.
Yeah,
and
I'm not jiving with Caroline though. She's got ideas. No,
all right, okay.
Ideas.
And we're waiting on Daniel O'Donnell's doing his today. So
is he?
So we'll get his in this evening. So no, every penny counts to us. It's all put to the good of the patient and for the for the care of the patient.
Delighted we get a chance to talk about that here quite regularly, isn't it? So people understand that. Breed, have you done your drive?
Not yet, no. Might do it tonight.
That's what we're all saying. There's going to be some jives. There's going to be some jives done today, isn't it? Everyone's promising to do something.
This is our final
today.
week, so
it's actually good to get a good push of it.
Yeah,
good push. Right, okay. Now, just remind us about the jive for June then, because David James plays a song in his show, inviting people to jive to it. Video it and send it in. You don't have to do it then. Do it whatever you like in the evening or whatever. It's about getting involved, having a bit of fun. It's not too late to get a sponsorship card, presumably, is it?
It's not.
Talk to me about how we do that or how people do that.
They can contact me on 087 238 9607 and I'll get the sponsor card to them. And there was a wee 2-year-old on jiving last week, which was great because it's all age groups, but it's not even the jiving if they want to do something else, because there's bake sales, there's everything, car washes, everything is happening.
Just a big push this month to help support the work that the Donegal Hospice does, isn't it? Really, that's what it's all about.
And we'll leave everybody alone then for the rest of the year.
You say that.
leave you alone, Greg, for the rest of the year.
You say that. You'll probably be back in July or August, but you're more than welcome anytime. Isabel, Chair of the Donegal Hospice, well done. Breege Dolan, I think you did excellent as well in your role today. A volunteer with Donegal Hospice and has worked really hard in selling the tickets to this, which has helped to get this amazing figure. And just finally mention the gentleman's name again.
Peter Brown.
Peter Brown is the... I love this story. As I say, I'm feeling all different types of emotions. I think it's really sad because it's something, but I would be really proud to be able to look after, if it was me, to look after John's prized possession. I would see a great deal of pride in that. I think it would be a great gift.
As well as, and we went to all the vintage shows. And Breed had to go to some on her own because I wasn't available. But we just, you just felt that John was doing it for us. He was doing good for us, so. He was there anyway. All
right, okay, Isabel Breed.
Thank you.
Can I just get a plug in there, Craig? On the 29th of July, anybody wants to sponsor I'm doing a parachute jump for Neil of the Donegal Hospice.
You left that late, didn't you? She doesn't want to speak. She's quiet in the corner. No, you're like, I'm not speaking. I'm shy and retiring. Oh, by the way, I'm doing a parachute jump at the end of July. Can you support me, please?
She's mad.
So where are you doing it out of, Breed?
I'm doing the Irish Parachute Club down in Offaly.
Fantastic, okay. And is it your first one?
I've done one 10 years ago for the Crumlin Hospital.
Brilliant. Okay, so this one is for?
This one's for the Donegal Hospice.
Donegal Hospice. And how can people support you?
Sponsor cards as well. They can contact myself or Isabel.
Lovely. All right, well done.
Sponsor cards out and about places.
Fantastic. So I will be speaking to you again before the end of July by the sounds of things. All right, thanks, Isabel. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after these.
Thanks.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Ramelton from the 6th to the 10th of July. Experience the incredible ABBA sensations on Saturday the 8th. For ticket information, see Lennon Festival Ramelton on Facebook.
With July around the corner, it's time to get your 232 ordered. With low finance rates, it's time to find out why Nissan is dominating the Irish market. With petrol, e-power hybrid and electric models. Call into iMotors today. We're sure to have a Nissan model for you.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballyshannon should attend the clinic in Colóiste Columkill in Ballyshannon on Monday 26th of June. And donors from Donegal, Killybegs and Dunlow should attend the clinic in the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town from Tuesday 27th to Thursday 29th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. Visit giveblood.ie to see eligibility and clinic details.
Go full Lidl for a summer of savings just like our customers.
For me, being a new mammy, and especially when daddy's in work, it's handy for me to go grab some salads, grab some ready-made meals, everything like that. And then coming into summer, we'll hopefully have some good weather and get the barbecue rocking.
Yeah. Go on. Go full Lidl today.
Looking for a good night's sleep? Restex Beds has you covered. Located at Mountaintop Letterkenny. They are the best in the Northwest to get a quality bed or mattress. Come visit them today and wake up feeling rested and refreshed. Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny.
Hi folks, Paul McDavid here. Invite you to join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for another edition of the Monday Night Sessions. On the show this week, we welcome local band Working Title. The Finn Valley Men's Choir will also be dropping in for a chat and a few songs. And we'll also be talking to Treehouse Presents about up-and-coming gigs happening in Bundoran. So that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on Highland Radio.
All right. When Archie first released the statement pointing to undisclosed pay to Ryan Tubridy, it was clear it was going to be big. To be honest with you, as I said earlier in the show, I didn't think it was going to be quite this significant. And we've had the story emerged this morning that Dee Forbes, who would have been a very interesting person to speak to in relation to this, has now resigned, and as far as I understand, has no obligation to appear before any committees to answer questions. But as I say, we'll speak to people with more knowledge about that in a moment. We're going to be joined very shortly by the former editor-in-chief of News Talk, Garrett Hart, a Donegal man, of course. But first, to finance spokesperson with Sinn Féin, another Donegal man, of course, Deputy Pierce Doherty. Gentlemen, good morning to you. And Pierce, I might start with you. Why is this, in your view, so significant?
Well, it's significant, Greg, because RTE, we have to remember, are mainly funded by the public purse, and there are people all over our county that go into the post office and get stamps to be able to pay the RTE license at the end of the year when it's up for renewal. And you know, that's all the more challenging at a time of pressure and inflation and a cost of living crisis. And RTE, you know, have made a virtue of the fact that they have disclosed the pay of the top 10 broadcasters in RTE. But now, over the last number of days, in a drip fashion, we have found out that RTE have misled us all, that RTE have provided inaccurate accounts and have repeatedly told the Oireachtas and indeed the public who fund them that the wages that were paid to their highest presenter, that being Ryan Tubridy, was under-disclosed, that they had another channel to pay Ryan Tubridy. And it appears from what we read in the media over the weekend that there was attempts made, and successful attempts, to actually, when they were paying this invoice, an invoice of, I think, €230,000, that, you know, the presenter's name wouldn't be on it. And there are serious questions for RTE, you know, in relation to all of this. Why, first of all, did they continue to put into the public domain that his salary was less than it was, when we now know that there was undisclosed payments of €345,000 to him? Why did they ask the agency in Britain to book it in as consultancy fees when the payment of in last year of $150,000 was to be made to him, which cost RTE $230,000? Why did they stipulate that no name should be on that? Why? Who else in RTE knew about this? We hear from the statement today from Dee Forbes that this was discussed with other senior individuals and across the RTE. Who else knew about this? How and under God did they come up with this kind of convoluted system where they say that oh well, he was supposed to get €75,000 from a third party, we believe is Renault, for appearances, and if Renault didn't pay that RTE guaranteed it. But in a way, Renault weren't losing any money anyway, because RTE must have been providing free advertising for them.
They give them a credit note for the amount that could be spent against advertising. So it came out of the... Either way, it came out... Yeah, okay. So, sorry to fast forward this, Piers, but look, we're going to have committee meetings. Who will be there? Who won't be there? We don't know. Fingers will be pointed all over the place. And the Irish public feel now, once again, that this will... All the dust will settle. Those who may be held responsible will ride off into the sunset. Nothing actually will change. There'll be a brief sabbatical. Ryan Tubridy's back on the radio, and it's another situation, not as serious as maybe some of the problems that we've had in the HSE, where we might find out that the way we do things in this country is terrible, but ultimately nothing will change. The bills for the licence fee will still keep coming in, and people will still continue to earn an absolute fortune off the back of the taxpayer. What could come of this once all the dust settles? Nothing.
Well, look, Greg, it could transpire that way, and people would be forgiven for thinking that that's possibly what could happen, because we've been here before and we haven't seen individual accountability. But there has to be individual accountability. Dee Forbes has resigned, but she was leaving anyway in a couple of weeks' time. She was on annual leave now, and then she was finished in her position. But she has been forced to resign. That's that's a reality. The question now is, who else was involved in this? And where is the individual accountability in relation to them? Is there any other pay issues within RTE? This is taxpayers' money we're talking about. This is misleading the Public Accounts Committee, who have a duty and responsibility under our constitution to look at the expenditure of taxpayers' money. This is in no way a minor issue. And what RTE released yesterday in response to questions was absolutely shameful. Where they're refusing to put public information or information that the public need into the public domain. And if they come before the committee on Wednesday and on Thursday, because there's two separate committees with that type of approach, they are going to do serious damage to RTE and to public confidence within RTE. So, I think the message is going out loud and clear from across the political divide that is not acceptable. We do not want any more drip information. We want to know the full facts, warts and all. And yes, there has to be individual accountability as a result of this here. If somebody in RTE, and this is where we're waiting for the questions to be answered, if somebody or some persons in RTE devised a scheme that prevented from the public to know that there was significant additional payments. Now, we're talking about €345,000 over a period of years. Some of these payments were €75,000 per year. There's people listening to your show, Greg, that wouldn't make that money in a couple of years, never mind a top up to their already very generous salary. This is not acceptable.
Well, just finally, do you think this should trigger a review of RTE and what is funded? I said earlier on, maybe you could make an argument for RTE Radio 1, maybe you could make an argument for one of the TV channels, but the licence payer now is paying tons of money to support 2FM, the digital output, stuff that is broadly available. We don't need that to be funded by the taxpayer. There's competitors out there in the independent sector. Do you think now is the time for we have an overall review of what we're funding and how we're funding it? Maybe now is the time for that. Why should RTE be able to dip into a cash pot to put €10,000 up for a competition to launch a new show, while Today FM have to probably have the begging bowl out to a commercial partner to try and come up with a fifth of that? And let's level the playing field now then.
Look, there is a broader conversation, and that conversation has started, Greg, in relation to, public services and broadcast. And in fairness to RTE in their coverage of this issue, because a lot of people in RTE are not on the Ryan Tubridy scales of money. They're not at all. They're average workers. They're working in the news desks and the researchers and so on and so forth, and they are absolutely also disgusted in relation to what has happened. But there's a wider conversation in relation to what is public service broadcasting. Yourselves in Highland Radio, for example, talk to people in Donegal. Where are they getting their news content from? Mostly they're getting it from Highland Radio. Yes, they get it from RTE as well. So there has to be a broader conversation in relation to how do we fund news and public broadcasting. There is no doubt about this, but Greg, D. Forbes was coming before our committees in the Oireachtas year after year saying, we are broke, we need more money, we need to up the fee, we need to look at how we're going to collect this fee. It wasn't long ago, people were being sent to prison because they didn't pay the fee. And as those conversations were happening, saying we need to up the fee, we need to get revenue to collect the fee so nobody can go without paying it, there was undisclosed payments being made to the top presenter in RTE. It is absolutely sickening for ordinary people, for ordinary staff, for the public to find out that this is happening. And I don't see this as a minor issue at all. I see this, it goes to the heart and a big test in terms of, will there be accountability and will we get the facts? Now, there's an external review going to be commissioned by the government. The idea that that's going to take 7 months just isn't acceptable in my view. But that should not be used as a way to actually not put the information in. Mm-hmm. I expect this week, by Thursday, when the PAC is finished, that we should have no further questions to answer. And Dee Forbes, in her statement, said that, you know, she's concerned about RTE, the future of RTE, the public and all the rest. Okay. The best thing Dee Forbes can do is actually come before those two committees. The fact that she has resigned should not be a way of getting out to holding herself to account before those committees this week.
Deputy Pearse Doherty, thank you for your time this morning. As I mentioned, Garrett Hart, former editor-in-chief at News Talk, joins us now. Your reaction, I suppose, Garrett, as a media person, to what's unfolded over the last 4 or 5 days?
Morning, Greg. Well, I think the first thing is that the RTE management and the RTE board have forgotten that they are run using taxpayers' money. And they forgot that as a principle, which has brought them into this position. I pick up on what Pearse said in terms of the external review, but I would move it on, Greg, in saying that there's going to be root and branch reform of RTE like they've never seen before on the back of this. The politicians are clearly annoyed. I think the general public are irate that these types of deals are going through. And what RTE's challenge has been over the last number of years is to fund public service broadcasting with a model that is broke. So the RTE model is broke. The new Director General had one, line on his agenda coming in was to convince the politicians that they should increase the licence fee to fund public service broadcasting. That's gone. That's dead in the water. So the outcome is going to be that for the next probably 3 to 5 years, there's going to be an accounting exercise done in RTE to slim back the operation, which will unfortunately result in job losses, will unfortunately result in a slimmed down RTE, and the days of the 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 contracts are over.
You mean to tell me that people will no longer be able to command that money, the likes of the Ryan Tubridy's and Joe Duffy's and so on?
Absolutely. Like you can't, the sums don't add up, Greg. If you don't have a license fee that can fund this organisation, and for the last 10 years, RTE have been running a deficit, which means that we've been topping up on top of the license fee. So that model is broken. So that model needs to change because we do need RTE to be a strong public sector broadcaster. But what it's going to result is in a slimmed back operation, and one that has contractors like presenters on significantly reduced contracts. Now they may move to the commercial sector. The commercial sector may start to cherry pick. So that could be another challenge for RTE. But to that point, Garrett, one of the big arguments is that they had to pay people the big money because, you know, that's how you would retain the talent because they were in such demand. Could a Ryan Tubridy or a Ray Darcy command 200,000 or 300,000 euro per year at News Talk? I think that ship has sailed maybe a few years ago. But now, if I was at News Talk, I'd be sitting back. I'd be watching this closely. And I'd wait for 6 months because within 6 months, lots of contracts that are up for renewal won't be renewed at the same level. A lot of contracts will be under so much scrutiny from the Public Accounts Committee, Media Committee, and RTE will be handcuffed into saying, we should be paying these maybe in line with public sector rates, because it's a public sector organisation.
Yeah.
It's not a commercial organisation.
What do you think of Ryan Tubridy's future, if you don't mind me asking? Because, you know, we're talking about the public reaction. There's obviously an internal situation here in that, you know, there are people who took pay cuts working on his show or on that are paid really quite modest amounts of money. And of course now, you know, in terms of his approach and his presenting style, you don't want to be called out every time you say something by saying, oh, well, that's easy for you to say, blah, 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 blah. So as someone who, as I say, a media person, where do you see his future in Irish media or within RTE?
I think it's quite difficult at the moment. I think his big mistake was to issue that first statement within minutes where he said, look, I don't know anything about this. I can't shed any more light on this. You know, 70, 80 grand goes into your bank account every year and you know, you're not aware of that. And then he had to come out 24 hours later and clarify that. Poor judgment, whoever advised him. And I think his future in RTE is very difficult. I think they will find it extremely difficult to put him back on air, because he will be bombarded, as you said, at every opportunity with why he got into this arrangement and why he wasn't upfront with it.
Yeah, okay. And very finally, do you think then, and on without prompt, Piers Doherty referenced sort of the funding of other radio stations and including Highland and all the other independent radio stations. I think that we might quite quickly see a move whereby this money is perhaps spread a little bit more fairly.
Well, that's, look, if I was giving any sort of advice to politicians, I would be saying the model of Highland Radio, the model of News Talk, is that these stations deliver public service broadcasting every day. The model is financially sound. The model is of the highest quality. And these stations around the country now need to be bolstered with license fee to ensure that your station and your team can be developed and you can retain staff, and that it becomes an important part of local democracy.
Garrett Hart, lovely to have your insight. Thank you so very much indeed. Former Editor-in-Chief of News Talk there.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
OK, with the very latest news now, it's good morning to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Gardaí and the Rescue 118 helicopter are currently involved in an ongoing operation in the Slieve League area. The Irish Coast Guard have confirmed to Highland Radio News that they are assisting Gardaí, but would give no further details. Gardaí have confirmed there is no access to Slieve League this morning, but again would make no further comment. Defective Blocks Ireland is to file a formal complaint to the European Commission against the Irish state. The complaint, spearheaded by Coleman Legal, seeks to highlight the state's negligence in implementing crucial measures to oversee construction product manufacturing. It's separate from the ongoing High Court legal action. Meanwhile, there's been another indication that the implementation of the defective concrete block grant scheme is imminent. It's understood the regulations are to be signed off this week after many false dawns. The chair of the MICA Action Group, Lisa Hone, however, says there's still no guarantee or definitive date as to when this will happen. Sinn Féin's finance spokesperson, Donegal Deputy Piers Doherty, says there must be individual accountability in the Ryan Tubridy payment controversy. Today, RTE General Director Dee Forbes announced that she is resigning with immediate effect. She's apologised for her part surrounding undisclosed payments totalling €345,000 to Ryan Tubridy. Talks are underway at the Labour Court this morning to try to break the deadlock in a dispute threatening the country's retained fire services. Members of the service threatened an all-out strike last week in a dispute over pay and conditions. And detectives in Derry have issued a renewed appeal for information relating to a mass robbery in the city last month. At around 9:30 on Thursday morning, May the 25th, a masked man entered a bookmaker's on Church Brae and confronted a member of staff with what is believed to have been a firearm. The suspect, who was wearing dark clothing, made off on foot with the sum of money towards Tully Alley Road. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
OK, Michaela, thank you very much indeed for that. Back after this break.
The 9 till Noon show with the Lennon Festival Ramelton from the 6th to the 10th of July, featuring the talented Jimmy Buckley live on Sunday the 9th. Tickets are just €10 and pay at the gate.
Why leave all the magic moments or great scenes you've captured on your phone sitting there or in the cloud when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using the McGee's app or one of the in-store kiosks, you can upload your photos from your phone, Google Photos, Facebook or Instagram and have them printed instantly within an hour or in by 10 and ready by 5. See McGee's.ie for more details. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
New this week in Home Store and More. All clothes hangers are all half price. That's right, all clothes hangers are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price hangers are gone, they're gone. Also, all camping is still all half price. But when all the half price camping is gone, it's definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Arcadia Retail Park, Athlone. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Experience the Connolly's Volkswagen 232 sales event running until June 30th. The SEAI grant reduces from €5,000 to €3,500 on vehicles ordered after June 30th. Don't miss out on €1,500 towards your new Volkswagen electric vehicle. Discover our latest 232 offers, petrol, diesel or electric. Stock available for immediate delivery. The countdown is on. Order your 232 today from your local Connolly's Volkswagen dealer in Letterkenny, Sligo or Ballina. Visit connellys.ie.
I've been looking for this all my life. On Wednesday, June 28th,
Indiana Jones, a final triumph.
a legend will face his destiny.
A few times in my life I've seen things, and I've come to believe it's not what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
His last adventure...
Give him hell, Indiana Jones!
...will be his greatest.
This is it.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Only in cinemas Wednesday, June 28th. Book tickets now.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. This is live radio, so we're going to get Isabel back in, and a very special guest is Peter Brown, whose name come out of the hat. Peter, I know you don't want to do this. You're a really good sport, but I just wanted to bring you on and say congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
And is it your birthday today?
It is indeed.
Isabel, come on. Happy birthday to you.
Greg, I can't sing.
Huh? You can't drive, you can't sing.
I can't drive, but I can't sing.
Come here, Peter, what a birthday present. And it's a lovely story, isn't it?
It is really nice, and it's good for the hospice, you know, to get all that money in.
And are you a fan of classic cars?
Yes, I've already got 3.
Get out of it. Really? Oh, wow.
Number 4 now.
Yeah, and what do you think of this wee car? Talk to us
Lovely.
about what's nice
really
about
nice,
it.
yeah.
Rare enough, I haven't seen too many of them about. And you're going to have to look after it for John now.
Yes, well.
Yeah, that's the job now. Well, listen, are you lucky? Do you win? Have you won
Not
before?
really, no.
Right, okay.
No.
Right, well, you're lucky today on your birthday. It's a lovely story. I told you I'd keep it short, Peter, and I want to fulfil that promise to you. But I wanted to A, congratulate you.
Thank you.
B, say well done for supporting the hospice. And C, and perhaps most importantly, a very happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Because his neighbour bought the ticket for him for Christmas.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
it
a lovely
was.
story.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't know what to get him, and she thought, "What would you buy him?" So she bought him a. It was her.
She looked in the driveway. There's 3 classic cars. All right.
It was her number was on the ticket. So
right.
when I rang, it was her that answered, and she gave me Peter's number then. So
okay.
Congratulations, Peter.
Thank you.
On behalf
Well
of the
done.
hospice.
All
Thank
right,
you.
we'll let you away, Peter. I know you didn't want to do it, but
Thanks,
thank you
Greg.
so very much indeed. And as I say, it just so happened that Peter landed up here. All the documentations, the keys. Take care, everyone. The keys and everything were here. And Peter, being a good sport that he is, I twisted his arm and brought him in. So there you are. That is that story complete. Okay, thanks, Peter, for being a good sport. We really do appreciate it. And again, a very happy birthday to you. A caller says, it looked like Micheál Martin's attempt to get us into NATO has fallen on deaf ears. He should have known the feelings of the ordinary people instead of thinking we're all stupid. Now, that's I kind of said something similar last week in that this process that they were going through with these meetings actually gave the Irish public a voice to express what they feel. And that voice is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the hull on you. We don't necessarily want to go down that route. And it's louder It's louder than any push to join NATO or align ourselves closer with them. A caller says, Minister and TD's pension should be transparent and out there for the public to see, the same as the people want to see what RTE is paying out to the likes of Ryan Tubridy. OK, I get you. Right, now, a bit of fun here, because in celebration of the school holidays, Highland Radio, in conjunction with Eclipse Cinemas and Walt Disney Studios, are giving away 2 family passes each day to the movie premiere of Disney's Pixar's latest movie, Elemental, in Eclipse Cinema on Wednesday, the 5th of July at 3 p.m. It's a beautiful looking family film, and it'll be a good wee day out. Children, have fun. Come dressed as your favourite Disney character if you want to. All ready for the red carpet. There's going to be plenty of popcorn and treats in store for all to make your premiere experience all the more special. For children that want to be in with a chance of winning this amazing prize, all you need to do, and this is really to mums and dads and guardians or granny and granddads, is work with your children and send a video or a voicemail to Highland Radio's WhatsApp number 08660 25000. So mums and dads and guardians work with your young ones on that. Tell us why your family should win a place. Now, you don't have to get into any detail. Have a bit of fun with it. Okay, winners will be announced at the end of the show. So we've got about an hour to go. We don't have an hour. We've got about 50 minutes to go. Winners will be announced at the end of this programme, as I mentioned. Disney Pixar's Elemental opens in cinemas July 7th. So this is going to be a premiere. You can say to your friends that I went to an Irish premiere of the new Disney film Elemental. Isn't that good bragging rights for when you go back into school in September? So get the phone out, send us a voice message or a video if you prefer, of telling us why you should win this amazing prize. Now, when we say family tickets, right, if you've got 5 children and an adult, it's not your traditional, the way they do it. We're going to accommodate as many as we can in the various different forms families take. If someone's really close to their cousin, we're not going to split them up. Do you get me? Right? So work with us. We'll work with you on that, and we'll get everyone in, hopefully, that wins. So send a WhatsApp video or voicemail if you're a young... Yeah, if you're a young person, bring them in then. So if you're a young person, to 086 60 25000, tell us why your family should win a place. Okay, right. We're going to take a very quick break, and then Arshin Kelly's going to join us with a preview of tonight's DL debate.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
The 9 till Noon Show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July. Save the date and gather your friends for an incredible lineup featuring Sharon Shannon, ABBA Sensations and Jimmy Buckley.
Be prepared for training and match day with Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure, with a variety of mouthguards, shorts, socks and boots from O'Neill's, ATAC and Adidas. Exclusive Michael Murphy GAA gloves are available in 4 different styles. You'll find everything your team needs to succeed on match day at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Join me, Marty Friel, this and every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. If you're celebrating a birthday or a work night out, Arena 7 Entertainment Complex has it all. Check out arena7.ie.
Hi folks, Paul McDevitt here. Invite you to join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for another edition of the Monday Night Session. On the show this week, we welcome local band Working Title. The Finn Valley Men's Choir will also be dropping in for a chat and a few songs. And we'll also be talking to Tree House Presents about up-and-coming gigs happening in Bundoran. So that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on Highland Radio.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11 minutes past 11. It's actually 11 seconds, but it's not anymore. But anyway, we are joined in studio now by our sports editor, Arshin Kelly, who's taken over the reins of the DL debate for tonight. Brendan is on leave.
He's on holidays again.
No, I was going to say that, but... Anyway, sure, look at it's in very, very safe hands. So the fallout from the weekend, let's start really, I suppose, with Donegal against Tyrone. It's been a roller coaster with everything that's been going on. I've been quite sympathetic really to what the players have had to go through, listen to. There was an upward curve in terms of performances, and then I think people felt that they maybe didn't go at Tyrone like they possibly could have at home. But I, as I say, armchair fan, I always stick that out there. You go and watch these games. What's your take on it all?
Tyrone were just too good, if you want to tell the truth about it. They had too much for Donegal at the weekend, Greg, and they could have won by more. They could have won if they'd got one or two more goals that they threatened to get. Maybe the margin might have been bigger. But from where Donegal was at the start of the year, if you remember the league, the end of the Roscommon game, we were very much at a low ebb. And in the All-Ireland series, having suffered defeat in Ulster, went into the All-Ireland series and nobody really was giving them a hope. They won 2 of their 3 games. So, and they were excellent against Monaghan. So they were. And they started to show a bit of form. But it didn't work out for them on Saturday. Tyrone probably that wee bit further down the line as a group, more of a seasoned team. Remember, there's a lot of players on that side, won an All-Ireland Championship recently as well.
Yeah.
And you had key men like Matty Donnelly, who for some reason was overseen as man of the match. Like he stood out, he controlled everything. And when you have a player like him, along with Conor Myler and the big man Kilpatrick in the middle, who had very, very good games for Tyrone, and then add in the Canavans as well. Dara Canavan was exceptional, and Rory Canavan could add an extra goal or two as well. Listen, they're just too much for Donegal.
In all sport, there's levels, and just on the day, Tyrone were a level or two above. Now we are back again from a Donegal perspective, managerless.
We are. Aidan O'Rourke indicated to us on Saturday night after the game that this was really going to be having done, and then it was confirmed eventually yesterday evening.
So he was going to see out the campaign.
He was seeing out the campaign. Now, he took over the reins at the end of the Roscommon game after Paddy Carr had gone, which was a surprise. I thought, right, if Paddy's going to go, everybody's going to go. But in fairness to Aidan O'Rourke and Paddy Bradley, they put their lives on hold for Donegal football, so they did. They put in an effort, and they got us as far as the preliminary round of the quarter-final, where nobody really was giving us a chance of getting as far as. But Aidan O'Rourke seen it out, and he's now decided to step away. And now the journey starts again for the county to find a manager, and it's something that they have to act on really, really quickly.
Will the process be any different? Given
it's going to be very different, Greg. I feel it's going to be very. I feel it's going to be very, very. We all know what went on in Donegal football, and Croke Park got involved, and Ulster got involved, and they had this big review. And one of the things being highlighted was the selection process of the manager. Previously, there was a 3-person selection committee that was set up. That is now going to increase, and it's going to have representatives from more than likely Croke Park and Ulster on board as well. The whole proceeds needs to be more transparent, and that's going to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah. So can I just say now, if you're a person that often your name gets associated with jobs like this and you've no intention of getting it or taking it, can you say it now? Do you know what I mean? The names that come up that are never going to take it, announce now that you're not taking it, and let us get down.
Confidentiality.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Well, confidentiality.
I'm being facetious.
I know you are. But confidentiality is going to be a big thing in the process. It was to be the last time, but it didn't. It didn't work out that way, and it's going to be this time again. But Mayo took a totally different approach. Like all the candidates that were involved in the Mayo job, they were all given the opportunity by the county board. Okay, right. You can let people know that you're going for this.
Do you think we might see some sort of a dream team or something coming in? Or was that of a time where we were in the doldrums, start of a campaign, maybe people thought they could come in and turn it all around? Like, do you see us getting sort of a traditional manager and set up, be it internally, externally, or do you see some sort of a collaboration of a dream team, or how do you see it?
Well, one thing needs to be, and I agree with it going forward, needs to be either a Donegal person or a Donegal management team in place.
Yeah.
Taking it. Now, we can have people outside the county, be it trainers, because there's exceptional trainers right around the country. But I think the top man in charge should be a Donegal man that has a big connection with the game and the county.
Why is that important?
I think they'll get a lot more respect possibly from the group. So they will. And that too from the people in the county and the supporters as well.
Yeah.
That's not saying that Aidan Rourke was not disrespected in any way. Obviously, he's an Armagh man, and Dermot and Paddy Bradley there. And again, I keep saying this, that they actually put a lot of effort into Donegal football, and you have to thank them for it.
But you're on about a team that comes in with maybe a 3-year plan or something that comes in and
you would like to have a dream team. Obviously, you would like to have a team that's got All Ireland winners maybe from 2012 involved, and that, but we just have to wait to see who wants to commit to it, because it is a huge job. So it is. It is a huge job, and we know the names that was linked with previously. will they be? They are speculated they're going to be linked with it, but only they themselves can put their names forward. But we'll know in the next couple of weeks as to we probably won't know who they are.
And there is plenty to.
Who wants the Donegal job?
Well, that's
now
it. But there is plenty to get your teeth into now, right? Okay, let's say we're in a reset mode. That things are changing a little bit. You have got your senior players that play for the jersey that are going to stick about. There is some really good young talent that's coming through. The bones are there, right?
Yeah.
So I think it looks a little bit more attractive now than it might have, 6 months ago. Maybe I don't know.
If you get the best players in the county committed to Donegal, you're off to a good start. So you are. Where is Donegal's level going to be in the next couple of years? It's an unknown.
I'm not going to ask you because maybe as head of sport here, it probably wouldn't be fair, but you can answer if you want to. Would you struggle to come up with 3 names that tick the boxes? Yes, they're from the county. Yes, they'd command the respect. Yes, maybe they have the credentials to be able to control a dressing room. Like, are 3 names easy? Would they be? If I asked you, would they be easy for you to?
Well, there's a number of former players that have All-Ireland medals in their back pocket that are with other counties at the minute.
Yeah,
in training capacities. And I'll name them. That's Mark McHugh, Colin McFadden, Paul Durkin.
Yeah,
like they are all with other counties. Yeah. So they are. Would we like to see Carl Lissy back in the fold? Of course you would. He's up with Kilcoo at the minute. He was our head of academy.
The talent's there.
Yeah. So these are and you like Rory Kavanagh has all the credentials to be a county manager. So he has. He's led St Eunan's, of course, to a title. He's won an All Ireland. Sure, Michael Murphy's managed ATU very successfully in a Sigerson campaign. He's involved with football. I think it was Glenswilly Miners he was involved with. Like, so if you were to get 3 of them guys together, there's 6 I give you.
Yeah.
Like if you were to put 3 of them together,
that's a dream team.
That's a dream team. But is this the right time for a dream team?
That's what
for Donegal going forward.
Okay, right. There's so much to talk about. Right, what's coming up on the
Kevin Cassidy might go for it. He's on tonight in the show. We'll ask Kevin will he throw his name on the ring.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah,
stick it in there. Yeah. I don't know if I kind of felt sorry for Galway against Mayo. Yes, that's the only other game really I got a chance to keep across. They were leaving 8-5 or 8-3, was it at the break?
Yeah, Galway was up, but we were actually in Buncrana, watching Buncrana and Terma. So we were down there and we were watching the score, and I was like, listen, don't write Mayo off yet. Because Mayo won, going into the game, I think Mayo won 4 of their last 5 in Salt Hill. So they did, and after getting beat by Cork, everybody was like, Mayo's not the team. That was a freak result against Kerry. Look what they do yesterday.
Right, okay.
In the second half.
So
they've got Dublin now in the next round.
Yeah, we have the quarterfinals. It's Kerry, Tyrone.
Kerry, Tyrone, who have huge history when it comes to the knockout stages of the championship. They're going to meet also Dublin, Mayo, which without doubt's the tie of the round. So they're seen as 2 of the guys that would be the front runners.
If both were on the telly, I'd watch Kerry, Tyrone.
Yeah,
if both are on telly at the same time. I know that nationally it'll be seen as that, but I think
well, there's going to be 2 Saturday and 2 Sunday. There's an Ulster game, Armagh against Monaghan, and then Derry and Cork. So, Armagh's in a very good chance of making.
I think they're all 4 crackers. You'd want to watch all of them games.
Yeah.
And the semis are going to be
Cork. Good. Cork have come out of nowhere the last few weeks.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And they'll put it up to Derry. But it's from Ulster football. It's very impressive that 4 of the 8 teams in the quarterfinal are Ulster. Yeah. And now we have 2 Ulster teams in the final of the All-Ireland Minor Championship, because Derry beat Dublin last night quite convincingly, and Monaghan won on Saturday. That's a repeat of the Ulster final. So that just tells you they can criticise all they want about Ulster football, but when you look at that stat,
there it is.
That's 4 of the big places of the 8 in the quarterfinals made up of. It's just a pity Donegal's not there.
Yeah, most of Ulster is in the last 8. And what else is coming up in the show?
The other guest on the show is John Lynch, former All-Star with Tyrone. We'll be breaking down this quarter-final draw. We'll also be breaking down what happened at the weekend between Donegal and Tyrone and how that game panned out. And obviously the Donegal manager is going to be teased out a wee bit more as well.
And we know Kevin's going to say something interesting, as will your other guests. Yeah. Okay. Right, that's all from 7 p.m. after the news at 7.
After the news at 7 o'clock, Greg, yeah.
All right, thanks very much, Arshin. That's Arshin Kelly in. And I was up in the middle of the night watching Jason Quigley fight.
I was
he did amazing.
Yeah,
I'm going to call it straight out. I thought I thought he was not big enough. And I still think he should be fighting at a lighter weight. I thought he was not big enough. I thought he didn't have the punch resistance. And I thought he'd be worked over in 2 or 3 rounds. But what he did, and I think he himself would give Andy Lee an awful... But Andy Lee is just I was full of admiration. He's so calm and to the point. Andy Lee and he worked on this strategy that, let's not forget, Jason Quigley was fed up, right, to make this new signing from DAZN look good. That's exactly what this was. And Jason Quigley ripped up the script. And it was way closer than the judges had it. But for some reason, in the 10th and the 12th round, he varied from the plan. And those were his 2 worst rounds. I would argue.
Lots of credit, Jason Quigley. Put on a brilliant fight. The American commentators loved the performance that he put in because he stifled Berlanga. But this was to be over in 3 rounds. Berlanga was to be... This is his home patch. It was a pro Puerto Rican crowd was in there. And Quigley was just seen as the man that was going to be another step.
And this was, if people thought like, oh, this is Jason Quigley's song, he'll get a couple $100,000 and that's it. He's going to be in world title fights going forward now. It was astonishing in that
we suggested that in the lead up in the preview. Kevin Byrne, who's a man that has brilliant knowledge of boxing, particularly Irish fighters, and he said if Quigley can put in a good performance and goes the distance, that actually could be worth more to him than actually getting the victory, because it shows that he's able to stick with these guys and put in a show and put in a performance.
I would just love to see what weight he could comfortably get down to, because
does he have to go lighter?
I don't think I personally don't think he's big enough to take on the big super middleweights who rehydrate and are clear. Now, Jason Quigley really did fill out before the fight. There's no doubt about it. Like he did really pack out. I just think he threw some potentially knockout punches that if he hit a middleweight with, I think that would be the end of someone. Like I would love to see him and Billy Joe Saunders at middleweight or something. Now I know he's over in the American scene and they're probably not going to make that, but he's a Eddie Hearn fight or something like that would just be for an eliminator or something.
Yeah.
No, I think he's Billy Joe's probably operating at super middle as well. But anyway, it was fantastic. I was expecting to be back in bed at 4, and it was an amazing performance. It really was. The only thing that was missing was just that one punch connecting in the 10th.
Yeah.
And it would have been like what Andy Lee did in the same ring in 2019 or something, was it? I don't know. I can't remember exactly. All right, okay.
Right.
Sorry about that. It's the only way I could get to talk about boxing was just to talk at you, to talk at you for 4 or 5 minutes. All right, cheers.
Thanks, Greg.
Cheers, Ash. But I'm so proud of what Jason Quigley pulled off at the weekend. It was amazing.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July, bringing you the super talented Sharon Shannon on Friday the 7th. See Lennon Festival Remelton on Facebook for ticket information.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €2,800 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
It's the Donegal Town Summer Festival from June the 30th to July the 2nd. 3 days of great entertainment, including live music on Saturday from Paul Ward, Bon Jovi tribute, Slippery When Wet, and the Ultimate Queen tribute. On Sunday, enjoy Honor, the Tumbling Paddies, and Nathan Carter. See Donegal Town Summer Festival on Facebook, supported by Donegal County Council and Fáilte Ireland.
Disney's The Lion King in Dublin. More to be seen than has ever been seen. Join Highland Radio on our trip on Thursday, 26th of October 2023 to see the award-winning Lion King the musical. Brought to you by Disney Theatrical Productions. Your trip includes luxury transfers, overnight stay at the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin on a bed and breakfast basis, and your ticket to the show. All this for just €219 per person sharing. Call 074 91 25,000 to book. A non-refundable deposit of €100 per person will hold your place. Single supplement applies. To see Disney's The Lion King in Dublin.
Okay, on this week's Monday Focus, we are in conversation with two Strabane brothers and their mother who've been selected to compete at the Commonwealth Judo Championship. Zach, who's 18, and Shane, who's 16. Zach and Shane Gallagher. Both of you, thank you so much for calling in. How are you getting on?
I'm good, eh? All right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just move this a little bit that way. Can you rotate there? Just that so I can pick you up. All right. So, lads, when did you first start judo?
Well, we started judo when we were 4 years of age. And
Yeah.
Zach was...
I was 5.
Zach was 5, and we've just been doing it all our lives.
And pushed each other on, presumably. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be that brotherly
very
rivalry.
competitive, aye.
I would say you did most of your training on the floor of the front room.
100%.
Okay. But when did you realise that you had something that you could compete like at the higher levels of it?
100%. And lockdown, when it was just us two, we were training all the time, and we just realised, like, we could go far in this year.
Yeah. And as again, pushing the two on. But both of you to be selected at the Commonwealth Judo Championship, that's pretty rare, isn't it? That two brothers would be able to operate at such high level.
Well, it was hard. It was a good couple of months there training, because we medalled at the All-Irelands in December there just passed, and then there's Northern Ireland Close Championships, but we needed to just take a lot of training, like, to get that level for both of us to get such high level and qualify for this competition. So
yeah, and is it in weight categories?
Yeah.
And are you both in the same weight category?
No, I would be in the under 60 kilo weight category, and then he'd be the under 73 category.
Yes, Mum doesn't have to worry about the two of you going at it professionally then, so isn't that good news, Jennifer?
It is.
Exactly, all right, okay. And so talk to us, for those who don't know about judo. Zach, maybe you can explain it to us. Talk to us about the sport, how it's scored, how you get one over your opponent, the sort of, whether it's in a ring or it's on a mat or whatever, just so people will get a picture of it.
Well, it happens on a mat, so there's a referee, and then you have 3 judges or whatever, and it's on a mat, so there's 2 different score types. There's an ippon and a wazari. If an opponent throws you flat on your back, it's ippon, and it's the fight's over, you win the fight. If you score a wazari and throw the opponent on their side, that's a wazari. But if you score 2 wazaris, it's an ippon, so you win the fight basically. But you can either throw them for ippon and they're flat on their back, or if you hold them down on their back for 30 seconds on the ground, or submit them with, like, say, a choker or an arm lock, or that's an ippon also. So that's how you get the win over your opponent basically.
So, and it's a mixture of defence, presumably. So you're defending the offence of your opponent. Is that it? Yeah.
100%.
And do you strike in it?
No striking. It's just all grappling, just.
Yeah, and it requires great grip too, don't you? You're holding off your same as a bit like jiu-jitsu in that regard, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and in terms of belts and progression within it, what is the range there?
Well, it ranges from, you start at white belt and then it's all the way to black belt, but there's, I think, 7th dan, that's a red and white belt, so that's the highest possible belt, the red and white belt. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily on who you win either. It's in terms of commitment and training and ethos and the view of the person that's judging you, isn't it? That's how you progress, and it's a big deal. Like, you might have to wait a real long time between belts, even though you feel that you've blasted through it.
Well,
and that's
I'm a black belt.
Yeah, that's fine. That's well done. You've obviously impressed who you need to impress. Black belt already. All right, okay. So I'll come back to you about the competition. Jennifer, did you see this coming? Like, did you see the lads interested in this and the skill set, and then did you see the dedication then over the lockdown when they were able to?
Yeah, well, basically, they have an uncle, 2 uncles actually, that were involved in martial arts and also progressed, at the international type level. So that really sort of inspired both of the boys to get initially involved in judo. And their dad as well was also a really good sort of sportsman back in the day. But during lockdown, lockdown was tough. I think lockdown was tough for a lot of, sort of youngsters and, mentally, but they had, just their garage started training, and then that got them through. And I have to say now, me and their dad are really proud of their motivation and just their passion for the sport. So moving forward, we're just delighted that they're having this opportunity now for this sort of next sort of international stage.
Yeah, indeed. And lads, too, though, the problem is that even though you've been selected to compete at the Commonwealth Judo Championships, and I think this is part of a journey that you see yourselves on, probably culminating in the Olympics, there's no bursary or fund as such, is there? You have to completely fund this yourselves.
Well, usually with the programme that we're on, like a lot of the stuff we go to, say if you're going away to a competition in England or Scotland or wherever, it's most of the time it is nearly either fully funded or partially funded. But with this one, it's just sort of like, it's that far away and stuff that they're like, right, well, it's fully self-funded, they're not going to put their funds or whatever, but it's just this one here is the only one that's like more or less self-funded.
Yeah, I mean, there's two opportunities here. There's sponsorship opportunities for a local business, and there can be good tax incentives for them to do that. They can get behind you and get the publicity associated with that on your socials and on your gear and what have you. But there also is people that if they have a few euro or a few pounds and they want to back you, they can go on to GoFundMe as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right, how do people find the link for the GoFundMe?
Any internet platform, just go on the GoFundMe website and look up Commonwealth Judo Championships South Africa, and that'll be right there.
Brilliant stuff. And as I said, the hope then is to go on to represent. It's Ireland, is it?
Ireland.
To represent
Northern Ireland at the Commonwealth.
To represent the country in the Olympics in 2028. And that's the way you have to plan these things, isn't it? You're always building up to be peaking just at the right time.
Yeah.
All right, okay. What would you see, like, do you think you could go over and medal or win at the championships, or is this part of the learning experience? I don't know, Zach, what do you think?
That's the goal. That's the medal. That's what I'm looking for, to come back and bring a bit of shine back to our town and country, and our skills. I know our skills are good enough, and I think we can.
100%. It's going to be tough, but I think we're confident with the skills, and I think we'll be able to do it over in South Africa, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and Strabane is producing its stars, isn't it? Particularly in the area of combat sports. So to be heroes of your own area too, that would be amazing. I presume the town and surrounding areas, Jennifer's rallying in behind the lads.
Yeah, really, and their family as well. Like, I have to say, like, my mum is probably their number one fan, and she's usually with me if I go to competitions and different things with the boys. And also their school as well, Holy Cross College. They have been, really supportive on the boys' journey now through the whole way through your sort of school life. And also they train out of Connachry Judo Club and have excellent coaching from their coach Paul Green, and they also have excellent coaching from a former judo Olympian, Kieran Ward. So they, the actual coaching is there, which has really progressed, been beneficial in their actual progression to get them to the level that they're at.
Yeah, and when you operate with people like that who've got experience, they're pretty honest, aren't they? If they think if they think you can do it or not, they wouldn't be not wasting their time, but they want to be on that journey with you. They're committing to you, and they say, look, if you give us your absolute potential, we can give this to you, and you can go places.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant stuff. Anything else coming up that around the corner that people could keep an eye out? You're doing any fundraising events or anything, or is it mainly just the shout out there for sponsorship and to back the GoFundMe?
Yeah, so basically just any sort of sponsorship, any donators, if they want to go on to the GoFundMe page, that would be amazing. Just in support of this actual Commonwealth Championships that's coming up, but also like the boys, sponsorship would be if we could actually get a sponsor, just to provide support throughout their journey now, would be amazing. Because ultimately the goal is the Olympics in LA in 2020.
And it'd be a really shrewd move, and I'm sure any prospective sponsors can chat to Zach and Shane and yourself. Be a very shrewd move to get on this journey now.
Yes, well, that's it.
Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, because if they're going places, you want to get in nice and early.
Yeah.
All right, what's the judo scene like in Ireland? Very competitive, is it? There's a lot of different events going on around the place.
Yeah, there's a lot of events. It is competitive. There's a lot of places, like you have a lot of competitions in just Northern Ireland, and you have the ones in Ireland, and there's the All Irelands, which is like the biggest in Ireland. Yeah. That's very competitive. Like, it's just basically everyone who wants to do well in Ireland, all the competitive players they all get together, and then it's just it's just one big competition for everybody.
All right, brilliant stuff. Listen, we wish you every success in this fundraising drive as well, but in representing the area at the Commonwealth Judo Championships. They're in South Africa, in and around the Port Elizabeth area. They run from August 2nd to 6th. As I say, there's an opportunity for any local businesses to get involved in sponsorship. And just remind us once again, Jennifer, how people find the GoFundMe link.
Yeah, so people can just go on and just search Commonwealth Judo Championships South Africa, and then it's been organised by myself, Jennifer Gallagher, but they will see on there just the wee bio for Zach and Shane.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Jennifer?
And then really just if anybody has any queries in relation to sponsorship, they can get in touch with myself, and just my email is jennifergallagher99@hotmail.com.
Yeah, and we retain that here because people know our contact numbers, and if anyone wants to reach out to us, all well and good. Listen, Zach and Shane, wish you ultimate success. If yous, this is probably not a fair question, but if we cleared the studio out here, threw the mat down, Jennifer's the ref, right? Who would win? I know exactly looking at your face who he thinks would win.
I don't think it'd be tight enough, but you just have to come and see.
But isn't that brilliant though that you can say that genuinely? I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, we're very competitive. We sort of can we do fight, but it's always sort of.
And they sort of know each other's strengths and weaknesses and that type of thing as well.
Day one, it's just always a stalemate. There's no winner.
Good.
No winner. All strengths, all weaknesses.
So both winners. All right, brilliant. Zach and Shane, Jennifer, all of you, thanks so much. I hope you get a good reaction to this. And as I say, we'll be now, lots of people will be tracking your progress over in South Africa and beyond 2028, the Olympics is. And you think it's a lifetime away, don't you, Jennifer? And I'm saying this to you because you're a little bit older than the two lads. 5 years goes like that.
I know.
Next thing you know, it's 2028.
It is. It just goes like a flash, basically. Okay. So it will be no time. That's why we would like to get things, start to get things organised now for their journey.
100%. Listen, what a lovely journey to be on. All right, as I say, Jennifer, Zach and Shane, thanks very much. We'll be back with more after these.
Thanks for having me.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Remelton from the 6th to the 10th of July. Experience the incredible ABBA sensations on Saturday the 8th. For ticket information, see Lennon Festival Remelton on Facebook.
With July around the corner, it's time to get your 232 ordered. With finance starting from 2.9%, find out why Kia is dominating the Irish market. With diesel, hybrid and electric models. Order before the 30th of June and receive a €500 super value gift card as well. Call into iMotors today and choose your new Kia.
Bíonn sranga dó letrachas hartar de gúnaí, agus déitach se bheith contortach dal gardómh. Mar sin, cur ceistart féin. Bhfuil me cínta go bhfuil se sábhailte? Bí a fear amach do ranga letrachas las tuas agus las tíos. Má bhíon áhasart, cur glíorn Chian 8 náid 382 Seans go sábhaile se do bheatha. ESB Networks, bí sábhailte.
Well, Grace, how are you today?
I'm good. I've just been down to the Made to Measure Fireplaces showroom in Creasla. They have an incredible selection of over 40 colours for kitchen worktops. And guess what? For a limited time, they're offering a 40% discount on any electric fire when you purchase a worktop there.
40%? That's an amazing deal, Grace.
Absolutely. And trust me, if the discount alone doesn't sway you, their huge selection of fireplaces, stoves, wood pellet burners, beams and stone cladding certainly will.
Contact Made to Measure Fireplaces Creasla on 074 91 38 365 on Facebook, Instagram and on mtmfireplaces.ie.
Right, still loads of your calls. Sorry, I'm just getting in position here. Loads of your calls and comments coming through. We'll get to them as this rest of this morning wears on. But first, I want to say good morning and congratulations to Margaret. Hiya, Margaret.
Hiya, Greg. I think we better warn you. We're on a bus. We're on a double-decker bus into the city centre. Everybody say hello to Greg.
Now, you're, Margaret, part of 18 people in a syndicate from Craigstown and Carndonagh that won the Lotto. Now, it's not quite the big one, but still, it's a nice little amount, isn't it?
Not the big one. I think, some people at home think that once we've won it, we can win it every time. But no, we're not. We didn't win the big 6 million, but the 18 of us won 250,000. Now, it's about a month ago at this stage, but we're only getting going now to get down for it.
It's nice amount of money, but Ryan Tuberty wouldn't get out of bed for it. But come here, you get almost €14,000 each. I think that's a lovely little lift, isn't it, Margaret?
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That seems everybody is, as we're all saying, like, you know, it's not going to turn anybody's head, but it's or put us to loss in any way. But everybody's got a little project or something they've been dying to do, and it's just about enough money for us all to do that. Yeah.
And who checked the numbers in this? Sorry, go ahead, Margaret. Go on.
No, I was just going to say that there are unfortunately several members of the group who have houses with my pets, so they're going to find quite literally a hole for their money very, very sharpish, I'd say. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing, Margaret? It's such a symptom of living in Donegal that you have a syndicate of 18 people, and there are ones within that. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is,
it is. Yeah. It's just a locational hazard, shall we say?
Yeah, exactly. A geographical problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 of you's got on the bus heading down. That's a good wee day out in and of itself, isn't it?
We're having a wee day out in Dublin. Yes, it's only starting now. As I say, they're waiting for us down at the Lotto headquarters. So. We're very excited.
Is there any prosecco? Is there any prosecco on the bus? No.
So I don't know what's been going on in the other cars, but I think the prosecco has been flowing already.
I think I can hear someone who's let's just say having a good time. All right, brilliant stuff. And I'm only joking. It's no harm. It's a fun experience. It's a lovely bit of news, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
all right,
it has, as I say, it's been lovely. Yeah.
Safe journey and enjoy it, please. And as I say, it's lovely for you to help us bring a wee bit of good news to people as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Greg.
All right,
it is
care.
lovely. It's lovely to share the joy. Okay,
safe journey. Bye-bye. That's Margaret and the crew on the bus heading down to collect their winnings. It's not the big one, but as you quite rightly heard there, it's just a nice little amount, and it's not little. 14 grand each. Okay. Shall I do the competition winner now? No, I shan't do it now. I have it ready to go, but we'll come back to that in a second. We have our first winners of tickets. If you give me the details, Caroline. No, I'm on my own here. No, the details of the competition winner, please. Okay, that's coming now in a second. So we'll crack on. We'll come back to that in a mo. Don't delete that for me, please, because I'll need it there. We're going to welcome our next guest on the 9 till noon show very, very shortly. It is on Zoom. Okay, right, we're on track here. 08660 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 08660 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Right, okay, I think I can say... let me see, we'll come back to that in a second. I am just having a slight little technical thing here, but I will get to the bottom of it in a moment. Some of your comments here coming in. Greg, I remember the paper headlines on Jerry Ryan stuck on his heels on 900k and wouldn't take a cut. Some was sponsorship, I believe, and they struggled to find a sponsor for a long time on Tub shows. Jerry Ryan's 3-hour show was big money. Liveline may have to cancel Funny Friday next Friday. How would that go? I believe they're at the Titanic next week. Can't RTE sink any lower? Pun intended, Kevin. Thanks for that. Indeed, yeah, indeed. That is a thing. Very disappointed to see or not see any businesses putting up Donegal flags in Ballybofey and Stranraer on Saturday. I think 4 businesses was all that had flags up, but the business was happy to take money of supporters coming into the town. Did not see many in the GEA ground either. I think the team deserved a few flags. Look, I mean, we're at a point here just at the moment in terms of football and where we're at. Caroline, could you just tell me who's supposed to come in here, because there's a few people waiting to come in and I want to make sure I bring in the right person. Yeah, but what they're called. Said it before, the 9 till noon show is much better than Ryan Tuberty and longer. Local stuff and good plugs for local businesses and events, and the YouTube bit is great too. But wonder if the BBC is hiding extra payments to some of its big earners too. That comes in from Jared in Ballykelly. Jared, thanks for your kind remarks. I appreciate it. Ryan Tuberty, RTE's golden boy. The problem is that it's our gold. He should be sacked. He received over €340,000 more than declared. It should be paid back. And the bigger issue is this only goes back to 2020. Who else over the years got it? I don't think he should be sacked personally. I know that sounds controversial, or maybe some might see it as controversial. I think that he agreed a sum of money with RTE, which we probably all would we? It wasn't up to him to determine how RTE funded that. It was RTE that decided to deliver the money in the way they did. I mean, maybe he probably shouldn't have said that he was taking a 15% pay cut when he wasn't. Maybe he shouldn't have sort of said he was standing with other workers when they were taking the cut and he quite wasn't. But that being said, maybe he also should have said that, look, the amount of money that you're saying I'm getting is not quite what I'm getting. But I don't think it's enough. He has to build his reputation back up again. But it's not from us externally. I think that's going to be something that he's going to have to work with internally in RTE as well, with the people that he works with. Another caller says, RTE, like most institutions in Ireland, needs complete restructuring. For years, we've had below average journalism and broadcasting. The only people that believe they provide a quality service is themselves. Groupthink at its worst. We now have politicians complaining that they were misled. Is that not what most of them make a career doing, facilitated by RTE? Right, okay. We'll be back with more after a quick break.
The 9 till noon show with the Lennon Festival Ramelton from the 6th to the 10th of July, featuring the talented Jimmy Buckley live on Sunday the 9th. Tickets are just €10 and pay at the gate.
Foyleside, at the centre of more for your euro, with great value gifts. So it's worth making the journey wherever you live. With convenient parking, late nights and all your favourite brands, you're better off shopping at Foyleside. See foyleside.co.uk.
Disney's The Lion King in Dublin. More to be seen than has ever been seen. Join Highland Radio on our trip on Thursday, 26th of October 2023 to see the award-winning Lion King the musical. Brought to you by Disney Theatrical Productions. Your trip includes luxury transfers, overnight stay at the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin on a bed and breakfast basis, and your ticket to the show. All this for just €219 per person sharing. Call 074 91 25,000 to book. A non-refundable deposit of €100 per person will hold your place. Single supplement applies. To see Disney's The Lion King in Dublin.
Right, okay. We welcome our next guests onto the programme. We have two of them, in fact, hence my confusion. Franco Malon, who's head of the National Association of Irish Colleges and head of Colastria Breed and Ranafast. Good morning to you, Frank. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Great to have you with us, and thanks so much for joining us. And also, we have Geraldine Mullen. Good morning. Oh, Geraldine's coming up on a separate topic. Geraldine, you stay where you are. Unless you want to talk, unless you want to join Frank and talk about...
No, you're okay.
Okay, all right. Come here, I'll stick with you.
Help we can, Geraldine.
Come here, Frank. Talk to us about your work with the Irish College and head of Colastria Breed and Ranafast.
Yeah, basically, Greg, I got an invite to come on this morning. I think we're talking about the situation regarding Ballantees, and I suppose one of the greatest, they are the backbone of our organisation. Yeah. The complete and utter backbone. And COVID hit the world, it hit us, and hit the Ballantees. And I suppose in the last couple of years, when we were reopening, we lost a few, not so much thankfully to COVID, but we lost a few as a result of COVID. And I suppose there was a great amount of negativity going around that the organisation was in trouble. But I think it couldn't be healthier. And I think in the last number of months, we've seen new Ballantees come on board, and some of all the ones who may not have been with us last year coming back out. So I think the wheel is really going around in a positive way for us, thank God.
All right, too, because as you say, you had the challenge of that break, but also too, people weighing up their options. Shall I offer my property for this? Or shall I rent it out in the holiday sector? People had to work through that themselves as to what was best for them.
Hugely so, Greg. But I think one of the things that I have seen as my working Ranafast here, but I think as my chair of Caucus, the national organisation, I think what we're really seeing here is the loyalty that these Banantees have shown to the colleges and shown to the language and shown to the culture. I think at the end of the day, it's been absolutely fantastic. Some of them may have been able to get greater money on down the Airbnb road, but they have remained loyal to the organisation and to the colleges. And really, where we are at the moment, Greg, is in a situation that in the next number of months, we're in the middle of a business now for summer. The demand, it's been a tsunami of interest from students since COVID, been so pent up, over the 2 or 3 years. There's been a tsunami, and I suppose we had a situation where the amount of students were greater than the amount of Banantees. But thankfully, we're working with Rinne Gaeltacht, and we're working very hard. We're hoping to have a roadshow down among all the Gaeltacht areas in September to welcome in new Banantees into the system.
Why should they? I mean, obviously, look at some people might do it just for the reward of having people in the house working with young people, promoting the language. For others, it might be more of a, there's an inconvenience potentially, and there might be an income. So what are the benefits for Banantees?
Well, I suppose one of the things that I'd like to clear up, Greg, there was an article in in one of our newspapers at the weekend, and I wasn't quoting. I was part of the background to the article. It said where a Banantee could earn 42,000 or 43,000 over 10 weeks, and I think that was a massive massaging of the figures. I think that was an unfair headline. I suppose that's what papers have to do. It was an unfair headline. Number one, the money involved is not 43,000 over 10 weeks. The Banantee, the fees that are being paid have gone up over the last while, but we're also working with Rinne Gaeltacht to fight for further increases. So if what I'm saying here this morning, it's not coming into the golden nugget or the golden egg, but it's coming into a situation where they might work and over a 10-week period in the summertime, as opposed to the traditional 6 weeks, which we had 20 years ago. They're coming in, they're working with youngsters. And I think that anybody who comes into the system, Greg, by and large stays with it. They enjoy the work.
But listen, I've been talking about Banantees for an age, and one of the arguments through COVID is that, for many of them, they do this work during the summer, and that helps, particularly on our islands, for an example, where there might not be much other employment. That helps them get through the winter. I mean, there's no secret here. They put in the hours and the effort over those summer periods to help pay the bills through winter. And I'm sure it doesn't match all of those bills, but it eases people's pressure. You know what I mean? There's no secret there. There's no surprise.
Absolutely, and I think what the grant, the board Rinne Gaeltacht have increased the setup grant from 2,000 to 6,000 in the last year, and I think that should incentivize more people to get involved, because I think sometimes people are afraid to take that initial step. Yeah. Back. I think they're afraid to make the decision. Their house has to be up to a standard, and to feel that maybe this is going to be too big a quantum leap for them, but it's not really, because quite a lot of the houses that are built now, they're up to a very, very high standard. So there is very, very little, if anything, that has to be done. And that's a message I'd like to get across there. Don't be afraid of that. The people are afraid of form filling. I'm the worst form filler in the country, I can assure you of that. So people are afraid of form filling. And we are here as colleges, and also Rinne Gaeltacht, I now recognise that people needed to be taken through the process and helped through the process. So hopefully that will be out there in September.
Frank, thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate it, and sorry any confusion at the beginning, but sure, it's live and it's a bit of fun. Take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, that is Frank O'Mailon there. Okay, now Geraldine Mullen joins us on the programme. Now, you might have something to say about Banantees, Geraldine. But firstly, all jokes aside, I want to congratulate you in receiving a top award. It's the Inspirational Women Award at the Family's First NI Awards at the Titanic Hotel in Belfast. Geraldine, how, as I say, congratulations, and no more worthy a winner. How did it make you feel?
Oh, good morning, Greg. Look, again, humbled and honoured. I wish I didn't have to receive any of these awards, but it was lovely to be recognised, and they had got in contact with me, and 10 of us got to go to Belfast there on Saturday in the beautiful venue in the Titanic Convention Centre, and just in recognition, it's not me. I'm accepting it on behalf of the Mullen Hope Centre and all the work that we've been able to do since since we opened in 2021. So again, humbled and honoured to accept it. But I do for John Smallson and Amelia. So I suppose I do it because of them, and I accept it for them. So I suppose first and foremost, I do it in memory of them.
And that was it, wasn't it? Immediately to dedicate the award to your late husband and children, who we all wish they were here with us and sitting with you. But in this awful situation, you've managed to, help others, and I hope in some way help yourself, but certainly honour the memory of your beautiful family, Geraldine.
Yeah, we're coming up to the 3rd anniversary now, Greg, and unfortunately time passes and the heartbreak doesn't get any easier. But I suppose it's the love and support I've got from everybody since the accident, and I suppose, for me, giving back, it helps me keep going, and it's what John Smallson and Amelia would want me to do. We were in Belfast on Saturday, and we came back down the road Saturday night because we had our market there yesterday, and I had 20 local businesses, and we had a lovely day and setting up now this afternoon because we have a lovely workshop tomorrow evening with the Women's Collective and the ETB, in the centre. So I'm just glad that it can be used for whatever the community wants it to do. So, and as you said, it's honouring their legacy. They were so full of life, and day by day, I still do it day by day, and it's still difficult, but a day at a time.
Exactly, and it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, it's a lovely thing, but it's come from such a sad thing. But life is so difficult, and we just have to work through it. And you do an amazing job in that, Geraldine, as you say, day by day. And it's lovely to chat to you, lovely to speak to you again. And again, congratulations, but acknowledging the situation you found yourself in that leads to this. As I say, I don't know. You know yourself. You've described it far better than I ever could. Have a lovely day, and good luck with the workshops today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks very much, Greg. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Chat to you
Bye-bye.
soon, hopefully. Okay, bye-bye. Really do appreciate you coming on. Right, okay. Let's see if I can hear this person coming up here now. Let's see. Is it coming up? No, I can't hear it coming off it. We have a winner anyway. It's just not quite playing out for me. It's a lovely wee message we got sent in from Sean O'Doherty in Burt. They're a family of 5, and Sean has won his tickets. I'll play this out for you in the morning. We'll download it and I'll play it out. Those watching can see it. Sean O'Doherty in Burt is taking himself, his brother, his sister, his mum and dad to that amazing premiere that is taking place. There's more tickets up for grabs. I don't have the actual sheet. But anyway, it's on Jive Time, I think, later on today, isn't it? There's another family ticket to give away, so stay tuned for that. Well done, Sean Og. If you were listening in, Sean, to hear the WhatsApp you sent in to us, and you're holding a beautiful wee doggy there, tune in tomorrow and I'll play it out, Sean Og, just in case you wanted to hear it on the radio. I'd love to do that. Okay. Right. That is pretty much where we have to leave it on the programme for this morning. It's been great having you all on board. For all of those who watch the show, who listen to the show, it really is greatly appreciated. We appreciate all of it. And for those of you who text in and what have you, any of the messages that we didn't get to, we'll get to tomorrow. And we'll be back at 9 o'clock, as I say, with more on Tuesday's 9 till noon show. Stay tuned. John Bresson is coming up around the Northwest.